And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another edition here of the King Grand Cup number 7, day 2. I'm of course your VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in chat, and by my plushies as well. Welcome one and all, to something a little bit different here, to a 2-day event. This is an 8-player invitational. Last night we were live with the quarterfinals with our top 8, but now we have slimmed that down. We've cut that down to our top 4. Here we go. We have top 4 players, we have 4 players remaining, and we have 2 best of 5s, and of course our grand finals thereafter. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of King's Cove, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg. It is Dark. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we open things up with a double proxy racks across the map. We have 1 SCV, we have 2 SCVs, and only 2 SCVs. So it's going to be 2 Rax Reaper here. Sorry, my apologies. Wait, what? I was gonna say proxy 2-Rax Marine Bunker Rush, but gases are being taken, so as I did slip up earlier, 2-Rax Reaper may be the go-to here as gases are on the way. Usually that is not the case, so based on its positioning here, based on its location, GuMiho, proxy 2-Rax Reaper, this is a rare build in this matchup. Show us what you got. Show us what you got. Meanwhile, behind this, Dark going hatch gas full, standard opener out of Dark. Now, I believe GuMiho was hoping to blind counter a gasless opener. Welcome to King's Cove, and Dark, he's very fond of gasless openers here on this map, in this matchup. If he can get away with it, he will do so on El Dorado, on King's Cove, on Neo Valley Square, on Abyssal Reef. Here, he goes for a standard opener, and the Reapers are coming, and Dark will be able to deal with this. Now, of course, this is still hyper aggressive and this can still get damage done. Ideally, you want to pick off some workers here. Ideally, you want to delay the 3rd base, but Dark has gases, so link speed is on the horizon. Eventually, Dark will be able to deal with this, but for the time being, it's going to be up to Dark to minimize losses, to maintain his economy, maintain his drone count, and keep those queens up and running. Oh boy. Vámonos, as we do have the Reapers now moving in. This is going to be that much more committed compared to a proxy 2-Rax Marine, for example, as more gas is being invested here. First Reaper dips into the mineral line, the drone is under fire. Ooh, quick spore or quick gas streak there out of Dark, saves the drone. Does save him, another drone does pull away, and a spore is going to be built. Oh, 1 drone goes down. Nice pick off here from GuMiho. He gets 1 drone so far, and we'll see how many more he can get. How many more he can bring down. Oh, speaking of, another drone falls here. Yeah, Dark stepping up, did rally a drone to take a 3rd base, and did forget about the drone. So another worker does fall. More Reapers piling on in. A link speed is on the way, and again, it's on Dark to buy time until link speed finishes. First queen does move in. Nice target firing. Very nice target firing. 1 Reaper goes down. Slip up there out of GuMiho. GuMiho slips up. He overextends. Reaper should not have fallen. Behind this is still making more Reapers back at home, transitioning. Factory is on the way. Goes into the middle line. 1 more drone goes down. It's gonna be what, 3? Yeah, 3 drone kills so far. Lings, they don't quite get this around. But now Dark is up to 2 queens. It's up to 2 queens here. He rotates over towards the low ground. The Reapers, they rotate as well. Dark keeping on with the rotations. Oh, does keep up. The queen taking a lot of hits, taking a lot of damage. We have 18 more links on the way. Very nice target firing once again. GuMiho does overextend. Another Reaper goes down. Ay, this should not be happening. Losing 2 Reapers. Link speed is now done, and now it's on Dark to chase this down. Has to put up those lings. Reapers, they do try to pull out. There's not that many lings here to actually work with, so GuMiho, he may clean this up. Yeah, there's barely any lings. Okay, additional lings have arrived. GuMiho, sorry, Dark trying to set up the surround. GuMiho, ooh, will lose 1 more Reaper. Yeah, he'll lose 1, 2. Lose 1, 2, 3. We'll lose everything here. He gets pinned against the wall. Every Reaper does fall. And now force to lift. Force to lift, racing back home. Back at home, we have a 1-1-1 setup. We do have the natural base on the way. Of course, Dark does confirm everything here, and Hellions are soon to arrive. So with that, GuMiho, he holds. GuMiho, he holds, he defends. We do see GuMiho attempt to delay the expansion for as long as possible, but the 3rd base. Oh no! The lifts, the lands. Not able to do that again, but cheeky moves out of GuMiho. Very cheeky. As Dark is going to stabilize, droning, saturating, pulling out of gas, which means no Bane Bust. We have seen some Zerg players, Shin comes to mind, where if Shin was in this position, he would just keep mining gas, throw down a Bane Nest and go for a bust across the map. Here, Dark, he pulls out, he's droning, he's saturating, just calming things down, building back up, GuMiho across the map, likewise getting map control with Hellions, and from here can even go for additional factories. Right now, the Raxes are floating, so there's no bio production yet. We'll see if he does commit into mech, or if he does try to slowly eventually get into stim, combat shields, and bio. As the game will settle down, GuMiho is transitioning. Meanwhile, it is going to be an earlier lair here out of Dark. I say earlier lair, I mean, it's been a bit of a shaky and awkward game, but lair is on the way. Baneland S alongside this. And so far, only 3 gases. Now, this may just be for 1-1 upgrades and for bailing speed, or we could take another gas and we could go into mutas. Meanwhile, we have confirmation. Yeah, the Raxes is still floating. You know what that means? That means double armory mech. So we are going to mech it up. We are going to mech it up here. Give me your switching gears into, I would imagine, battle mech initially. We have Cloak Banshee on the way. Lair is about to finish, and we are going double Evo Chamber, and we did not take the 4th gas, so this looks like Lingbane. So far, this does not seem to be a muta play, otherwise gases would have been taken and Evo Chambers would have been delayed. So yeah, it's going to be 1-1 upgrades into further tech, actually. Roach Warren, Infestation Pit. Look at the tech up into, I mean, we have options here. This could be for Hive Tech, this could even be for Swarm Host. And on a large map like King's Cove, against mech, of all things, Swarm Hosts, they have their place here. They are viable. So Storm Host would be viable for the time being. Dark, it does saturate his 3rd. Moving on over. Getting his 4th. Double upgrades on the way. Dark, he hasn't really confirmed mech yet, but based on the upgrade pattern, looks like he's getting ready for it. Looks like he expects mech. So +1 range, +1 melee. No carapace upgrades. Again, carapace upgrades are ideal against bio, but they're borderline useless against mech. So you want to avoid that. Likewise, GuMiho does move out. Queens are keeping up with the rotations so far. Yeah, the Spore is in position. Queens rotate, a Hydra then gets thrown down. So if Dark needs to, we can tech up in towards Lurker Tech. Against Battle Mech, I would still prefer Lingbane or a Ravager. But Dark is still piecing it all together. Fending out with some Lings. He does get eyes on the Raven. And on additional Hellions. And for the most part, he has confirmation. I mean, that's a lot of Hellions. So that does trigger Roach production. Hydra upgrades on the way. Hive is on the way as well. Not going for Swarm Host. You see GuMiho being active. At least attempting to be. We got 9 Hellions on the front lines, taking down some tumors. Dark is going into Roach Hydra. Limited Ling production. Just building up his Roach Hydra. And if he goes Roach Hydra Viper, and if he skips Lurker Tech, he can try to break through this defensive line, 100%. Yep, Vipers. So Roach Hydra Viper here is on the way. And we'll see if Dark turns up any further. Right now, he's on 3.5 base saturation, 75 workers, does take all those gases. I mean, this is very gas intensive. So he does take extra gases. And so he's not supplementing his army with Lings, he's just making more Roaches and more Hydras. Still building up. Looking to max out. GuMiho embracing Battle Mech. He did get into Cloak Banshee, but only 3 Banshees. Decent amounts, but so far no real harassment. Hasn't pinned back home. Getting to now 2-2 upgrades. But what's important here, as Dark is, again, about to max out, and Dark is cutting workers, that's 3.5 bases, that's 74 workers, there's no tanks. That's the scary thing here. Right now, GuMiho is building up a Battle Mech army, which is designed to kite more than anything, but he can't slow this down. And here we go, Dark is pushing at 180 supply, doesn't wait for 200, does push, GuMiho getting in position, and again, 0 tanks to defend, just Hellion Cyclone, just Battle Mech. So far, nice lock-ons, does focus on those Roaches. Roaches are going down. Oh yeah, the missile was brutal as well. And GuMiho, he should clean this up. He should, and he will. He shuts down all the roaches. He shuts down all the hydras. The Vipers are too late. Yeah, this was premature. The Vipers, they come in after the fight ends. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, Dark getting too excited. He did move out too soon. And Dark, he will lose his momentum. Again, he had cut corners, taken gases, and built up towards 180 supply to go for a one strong push, but he moved out without the Vipers. And without the Vipers, he doesn't break through that defensive line, he plummets in supply, and now GuMiho is in a much better position. And now Dark is forced to drone. You can see, drones. He's droning up to 80, he throws down a lurker den. Dark, he's forced into a longer game. He failed his timing, he failed his push, and now he has to settle into something longer into the late game. Initially, Dark, he wanted to avoid it, but now there's no avoiding it, not anymore. GuMiho taking his 4th and getting a 5th base on location. Dark still being active, knocking down those rocks. Again, Dark, he is about to max out. He still has those 2 Vipers. You know, our reinforcements getting caught out. Good positioning here from GuMiho, picking up a couple of roaches. As long as he doesn't get caught out, nice abductions. And gets 1, gets 2, gets 3 cyclones. Very nice pickups. As he kites away, Hellions, they bust into the mineral line. 7 drones go down. And Dark, he's committing. Again, King's Cove, it's a large map. It's too far away to turn back home. More drones going to be falling. Dark trying to force his way into the natural. Zone away those cyclones, a couple of links, a couple of roaches, they peel off into the mineral line. So far, good positioning here from Dark. Back at home, 12 SCV kills, very nice damage. Will lose drones across the map, that is true, but he does reciprocate across the map as well. So he starts this forward, takes down more Hellions, more cyclones. These are expensive losses here for GuMiho. And remember, it's not like GuMiho has like a defensive line of tanks. No, GuMiho is sticking with Battle Mech, with Hellion Cyclone. And this is a composition that thrives with momentum. It thrives when it really builds up and masses up in terms of numbers, but that's not here, not for GuMiho. At this point, I think this is stubborn. At this point, I would say GuMiho needs to switch into tank production. To like turtle up. He needs to turtle up, he needs to defend, he needs to slow the game down. Because Dark, he is building up once again, getting ready for another push. Hellion Roundwise have been solid. Getting 6 drone kills, keeping Dark busy. Infestors are on the way. And GuMiho is pushing out once again. He gets spotted by the Changeling. So Dark, he now knows that GuMiho is still not making tanks. He's fully aware. The Infestors is going to be that much more valuable here. Again, if we had tank reinforcements instead, the Infestors, they wouldn't do anything. But now, they have their uses. Yeah, 5 more, Jesus, that's like it's a lot of Infestors. 5 more Infestors on the way. Gonna be 10 in total. Back at home, still just pure battle mech out of GuMiho. Making 5 Slacklings at a time, 5 Hellions as well. Once again, moving in. Dark not quite in position, getting ready for his own push. There we go, he has to respond. He has to react to this. He turns back around. Oh! Does the Dr. 1, a Cyclone. Really what he's looking for here, though, is those fungal growths. And you can see Dark, he just cut Hydra production completely. Just laying a Roach Infestor. A couple of Lunkers to defend back at home. Oh, but they get caught out. They're exposed. Expensive losses here for Dark. And Lurkers go down. Dark, he's out of position. He's racing back home. There's 1 Lurker left. Down to 0. Yeah, 0 Lurkers remaining. Dark coming in for a surround, though. Okay, nicely done. GuMiho overextends. Dark, he moves in. GuMiho is going to try to break out of this. Oh, did borrow. Did try to fungal. Does fungal some of those Infestors. Sorry, some of those Vikings even. Overall, a decent fight with more Cyclones. They do head through the center. Brutal fungal growths. And these Hellbats are being shut down. Dark, he's going to be able to clean this up at the same time, though. GuMiho pushing into the mineral line. At least trying to. It's getting a little bit messy. There we go. Hatchery goes down. Our Cyclones and CranKy back. And they're going to need to. As GuMiho, he will bleed out everything here. Cyclones do fall. And finally, tank production. Just, ay. Oh, God. Dying. But tank production on the way here from GuMiho is finally coming out. And now he's slowing the game down. Now, was this worth it? He did get a base. True, he got a base. He was able to get not many workers. He mainly traded with his opponent. He got the lurkers, of course, got the roaches. He reset the infestor count for the most part. It was an okay trade. But now we're walling up. It is at this point where now GuMiho's like, okay, now I have to slow down or I have to turtle up. It has to happen. Ooh, and as he's getting into tanks, what do we see? Swarm Hosts. I love how fluid Dark is being. Like, Swarm Hosts are exactly what you want against a slower composition like this. Swarm Hosts, not against Battle Mech, but against a more traditional form of mech, 100%. This army is more immobile, it's more stationary, it's where Swarm Hosts can thrive. So really cool to see Dark switching from one kind of tech or composition to another. Remember, it started with Roach Hydra, then into Ling Roach Infestor, then into Swarm Host. And from here, what do we have? We have a Greater Spire. We have double Spire, Greater Spires on the way, so Darky's getting ready for Broodlords when need be. So Dark is taking up. Here comes that first Locust Wave. Gonna be how many Swarm Hosts? 13. They say dive in, they're going for the Planetary. Planetary should go down even with the mass repair. Yeah, one more volley, does fall, massive pickup. Takes down one of the tanks as well. And even a Hellbat. Likewise, Roach Hydra on the other side. Gaining ground. Just poking in, not quite breaking through. The tank line here is brutal. But getting ready for another wave of Locusts. Getting ready for more of those Swarm Hosts. This time the United Storm gets caught. Let's pick up here from GuMiho. Meanwhile, towards the left-hand side, I mean, he's still exposed. There is an orbital this time, so he can lift. He can save the base. Oh! Tank is abducted. Yo, we got mass BC production on the way from GuMiho. He has stopped rebuilding tanks. Getting to mass battlecruiser. So he's gonna have, what, 5 starports? Ay. Locust Wave moving in. Now, bearing in mind Dark, he's already getting ready for that to air transition regardless. But when he does spot all the starports, that's a massive tell. And sees the starports, is aware. Doesn't get too much done, but does scout. Does scout with those Swarm Hosts. Fungal goes off. Hydra's a lunge in. Picking up whatever they can. Catching out one of those tanks. Yeah, GuMiho does overextend, bleeding out 1, 2. Gonna be losing all 3 tanks here. Ay. Yeah, big overextension from GuMiho. As he was trying to move out to bring down these Nidus Worms. Behind this, building up more Viking BC. And we're still working on those 1-1 upgrades here. Still no Corruptors yet. He does have some anti-air, but soon we need those Corruptors. I love that he has a Nidus on the left and then the Locust Wave on the right. Oh, he gets spotted though. BCs are revealed. Now Dark knows, and now he has to trade. He has to dive into the Unsiege. Does Unsiege at the wrong moment. Tank's gonna be going down. Massive pickups. Vikings forced to land to avoid that power bomb, and everything here is gonna go down. GuMiho plummets in supply. We have 20 Corruptors in production. Just the wrong moment to Unsiege. That was every single tank. And that was all the tanks. CC goes down, and BC's are great and all, but now there's no ground support. And those 20 Corruptors are going to be more than enough. They lined up with 1-1. Behind this, Ultra Cavern on the way. Unfortunately, wasn't quite ready yet for like a Corruptor Ling Ultra. But Darky's working on it. There we go. Now getting into 2-2 upgrades. Where's Dark's ground army though? Yeah, Dark, he doesn't really have much on the ground. These Hellions, they could just ignore this. They could just go and roast up some mineral lines. He's diving in. Yeah, he dives in. Does force a teleport. Teleporting right next to the army, though. Yeah, Darky chases him down. He gets 1. He gets 2. He's going to get 3. Going to get at least 3 BCs. Massive pickoffs. Expensive losses there for GuMiho. Dark pulls away. Oh. Does trade. Meanwhile, GuMiho is spending his minerals at least, going into Mass Hellion. And again, I do feel like GuMiho has the opportunity to get a lot of damage done with these Hellions. Again, the ground army is almost non-existent. But now, as we bleed out Roaches, bleed out Corruptors, Roaches are rebuilding. Critical save coming in. Doesn't get too much. 7 SCVs. 7 SCVs. It is going to be mainly a Hellion-based army against Roach Ravager. It's not going to trade well. Oof. Yeah, Biles do connect. The Hellions do eventually break through. More Roaches are on the way. Can they get into the mineral lines? Oh, Fungal Growths do connect. But they were a little bit late here. Ideally, they support the Roaches. And GuMiho takes down the base. Expansion going down. We have 20 Roaches in production. Do we have any more Fungals? We have plenty. Arguably too many, but Fungals are available. Neural was researched, so we can always neural those VCs or neural the tanks. He can neural if need be. Stark is getting ready. Again, he is maxed out. And GuMiho doesn't gain any ground yet. He's knocked down 2 bases. Oh! Bit of a misrally. But 2 expansions have gone down. Darky does expand towards the right-hand side. Still a decent economy, but he's down to 63 workers. Local save does get spent. Yeah, local save is wasted. Dark moving in. Spots the army. Oh, gets punished. 2 more corruptor kills. As GuMiho rotates over towards the fresh mining bases, Dark, he can't afford to lose these. Yeah, Dark trying to rotate. He rotates over, tanks are sieged. There are only 3 tanks here. There's not that many. But he does cut Dark off. Yeah, the base is under fire. Looks like the expansion is going to go down. Dark is trying to Night Storm over. He needs a Swarm Host, which he still has. 13. Lanes they flutter across the map. Expansion goes down. Dark is not going for it yet. Dark is still holding on. Swarm Host, they're actually back at home. Oh, they're back at home instead. That's going to be 2 bases falling. Dark, he has no money. He's down to 1 base. Down to soon to be 2 bases. Yeah, but not much of an economy. He just goes for a counterattack. He doesn't care. Moves out across the map, going for the SCVs. SCVs are going to be falling. Yeah, Dark, he just ignores this army. Goes across the map. CC is going to be going down. GuMiho turns it back around, but GuMiho is in a better position. In a sense, like GuMiho also doesn't have. I mean, he's also broke. we got 2 patches left. GuMiho, he needs that CC. Both players running out of resources. GuMiho, he needs the expansion, as he really has no income. He has a bit of a gas bank to work with. Meanwhile, Dark, he retakes the center base. He does re-expand here towards the center as well. Not the best economy, but an economy. GuMiho still has a terrifying army, though. Yeah, the army's terrifying. Does take some blasts to the face. Tank goes down. And Dark is forced to evacuate. He has to pull back. Oh, nice neural. Very nice. Neurals of BC is the best. Oh, the Wiles. Oh my god, every BC goes down. Very nice catch. But yo, who needs Corruptors when you have Ravagers? When you have Biles? BC count gets reset. Dark moving in. Yeah, mass duel here on the tanks. And Dark, it looks like he, barely should have enough. It's going to be close. Yeah, it's getting very close here. Infestors are falling. The tanks, they barely survive on 1 HP. Dark with his reinforcements trickling in. It looks like he does have enough. Takes down one of the tanks. There's 1 tank left. GuMiho is still rallying in. Takes down the expansion. Uh-oh. Yeah, Dark. Running out of money, running out of bases. He still has those swarm hosts, true. Swarm hosts, they're coming in. From what, like 15 minutes ago? They're still popping off. They catch a tank, they get 1, they get 2. Every tank counts. Jesus, it's 11 tanks left. GuMiho back on a 1 base economy. More than I can say for Dark. Dark on, again, half a base. Ooh, GuMiho overextends. Has to get out of here. Has to pull away. A risky maneuver here. Dropping tanks. Using whatever he can. Local save is ready. GuMiho, he has to respect it. And the local save close enough to the mineral, and he can go for the SCVs. Denies mining at the same time. Oh, the base is going to go down. Both players hurting so much. Outside a Ravager. Nice moves here by GuMiho. Dark still barely maintaining himself. Barely. GuMiho double expanding, going for the center base and a fresh base on the right-hand side. Dark, he hasn't scattered. He doesn't know. GuMiho committing in. Local save from behind. Dark, he's getting ready here for the surround. And the local save is ready. He's ready. The tanks. I don't know if he can escape. Tanks are trying to make their way out. They're getting caught. Yeah, tanks are getting caught. Tanks are going to be falling. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, this was not it. GuMiho, this is his final army. The tanks are all going down. And Dark, he catches him. He gets him. He takes on every single tank. We see GuMiho getting desperate, moving out. He has 4 tanks left. He lost everything. Again, the MVP swarm host every time. I was curious about something. If I look at the Unisoul tab here, how many swarm hosts have died? 0. These are the same 13 swarm hosts from 20 minutes ago. It's crazy. Now that I mentioned that none of them died, like they're gonna go down now, I'm sure, but the efficiency. Base is denied. Dark, he does get eyes on top right, or center right. Is aware. Likewise going for another planetary, another base falls. GuMiho is still barely maintaining himself with that base on the right. He's muling his heart out. Also, shout out to these 2 tanks, or these 3 tanks, I should say. The 2 medevacs. GuMiho, with these 3 tanks, he killed what? A base, killed a mineral line, took down another base. Been so annoying with these tanks, with these drops. Again, it's coming down to the wire. Hey, he's got a mining base. He has income. Rebuilding his tanks. He's building back up. The mule hammer is real. That's a lot of mules. Oh my god. A lot of mules are coming in. Tanks getting caught unsieged. Oh. File state. Ooh, do not connect. I'll pick up. But tanks are still going down. Erosions, they push on forward. Running out of Ravagers. Getting into the mineral line. Going for the tanks as well. Oh, gets 1. Takes down 1. There's 3 tanks left. Takes down all the mules. Darky pulls out. Barely pulls out. I believe, yeah, GuMiho, he did rotate over. All the tanks that he once had in position, they're not here. Mining is denied. GuMiho with 0 economy. This is his income. These workers here. He does save them at least. Does save them. Does pull them over, but GG gets called. He has nothing left. GuMiho, he runs out of steam, and Dark, he takes game number 1. Whew, GG. That was game 1, by the way. GG, well played. Dark, he does take the game again. A very intense back and forth. I just love the tech switches from both players. GuMiho, I would say, did stay on Battle Mech for a little bit too long, but he did commit to it, eventually switching out of it into a more tank-heavy composition, then into BCs, then back into tanks, and likewise, he also wasn't really turtling. For a time, there was a small period where he was the defender. That was when the Swarm Host arrived, if you recall, where GuMiho was stuck at home and he was losing bases to the Swarm Host. But after a while, he was so active with his army, with his tank-based composition, pushing through the center, rotating to the right, to the left. Dark had a very hard time maintaining bases, but what was most important, even though Dark was losing hatchery after hatchery after hatchery, he was also counterattacking with his Swarm Host, with his Ling Rumbais, with his Roach counterattacks as well, and also crippling the economy. So as Dark was losing bases, so was GuMiho. And it got real scrappy. Towards the end, it all just came down to efficiency, right? It all came down to how efficient these players were being with their armies and what they could pull off. GG. GG, well played with that. Dark does take a lead in the series, and now we're jumping to game number 2. For those that are curious, this is a best of 5 semifinals match. Again, this is only the semis. For those that weren't here yesterday, this is day 2 of this 2-day event. Last night, we were live here with the quarterfinals, featuring Dark, GuMiho, Ryung, Zoun, and many others. Here we are live with the semis and the grand finals thereafter. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Frostline, we have the South Korean Terran player, the red Terran. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the blue Zerg leading the series 1-0. It is Dark. We go. Just catching up with the chat. GuMiho, pecoeta. Good to see you, Papi. Good to see you. Good to see you. Shama in the chat as well. Shama. Dark is amazing. He trades evenly with Mech. I would say he maybe out-traded. It's hard to say. Like, it was just very intense, very close, very intense, very back and forth. It was crazy. Very crazy. There were a lot of highlight moments as well, like the moment where Dark caught all the BCs with his Biles, with his Infestors. Likewise, GuMiho with his drop play, right, with his 4-tank hit squad, sniping bases, and juggling against Roach Ravager. The Swarm Host surround that we saw out of Dark. Likewise, GuMiho's Hellion Rumbais and rotations. Like, it was solid. It was StarCraft. It was crazy. Both players had their moments. From here, GuMiho single gas open, and standard open just racked expand. Likewise, Dark going hatch gas pool. So far, so good. Dark used also against his Ultra. He did have an Ultra Cavern, if you remember. There was a time when Dark, he was going for his Corruptor switch when he saw the BCs, where it looked like he wanted to go into Ultras, but he didn't have the tech ready at the time. His Ultra Cavern was a little bit late, and he never had the opportunity to actually get back into Ultras at that point. But he did have the Ultra Cavern. Did have it. But now they're just calming things down. Whew, and we can embrace, so far, a much more standard setup. For those that weren't here at the start of Game 1, GuMiho did kick things off with a Proxy 2-Rax Reaper, which was crazy, by the way. If you recall, it was designed to hard counter Dark going for a gasless opener, but Dark did open up Standard instead, and likewise Standard build here by Dark as well, which is to be expected on Frostline. When it comes to these gasless builds, you expect them on maps like King's Cove, on Abyssal Reef, on Neo-Violet Square as well, on El Dorado. There are certain maps that do lean towards, or that do favor that style, as you can be much more defensive early on. Here on Frostline, that is not the case. Frostline is much more open. It is a large map, that is true, but here the 3rd base and the 4th base locations are so wide open here. There are very large ramps. There's also an entry point here in between the bases as well. It can be very difficult to defend against Hellion rotations if you do open gasless. So Dark, standard play, makes sense here on Frostline. Does make sense. Getting into link speed, likewise we see GuMiho back at home going 3cc Banshee, economic builds out of GuMiho. Is playing economically. There's Yadon swap into Banshee play. And as opposed to the previous game, everything is so far looking as it should. Again, last game was proxy Turax Reaper into Battle Mech. Here, this can still lead into mech. I don't know if I'm too fond of it here. As I mentioned, talking about how exposed some of these bases are, it is more difficult to turtle, so it is more difficult to play a more traditional form of mech on Frostline. But Battle Mech is a different story, and we did see a lot of Battle Mech on King's Cove, so it is going to be an option here to GuMiho. For now, being active, rotating around. Now it's going to be deflected. Does not find a way in. Behind this is going to be a lair first opener out of Dark. We did see this last game as well, going lair first into Ling Bane. And we'll keep an eye on that gas count. For now, Dark, he is getting up to 3 gases. If he gets another gas geyser, then we can start talking about muta play. But on 3 gases, it should just be Bailey Nest into double Evo Chamber into double upgrades. Meanwhile, GuMiho went into mech in game 1. Here in game 2. Who is it? Oh. Oh, no! It's one of the admins. No! Yo, whenever there's a freeze like that, everyone, whether it's myself, whether it's the Korean caster, the players, we all hold our breaths. Who's like, who is it? But that is one of the admins for the tournament. So it feels bad, man. Hopefully everything's okay, and hopefully that doesn't disturb the game too much. Otherwise, I might have to leave the game. Thankfully, nothing major was happening at the time, but what we were about to say here is bio. We have bio play out of GuMiho going into Stim, throwing down extra Raxes, getting up to a 5-rack setup. Again, GuMiho is not a one-trick pony. He's not one that only plays mech. He can play both. That's what makes him terrifying, is that, sure, he can play mech, but he doesn't have to. He can always mix it in when need be. Wes diving on the queens, takes down the active tumors. Nice big ups here. Take that 1, 2, all 3, 4 active tumors, does pull away, and also I glossed over it. I assumed it was add-on swap into Banshee. It's add-on swap into Raven. So Hellion Raven out of GuMiho, a much rarer opener out of our Terran player so far, has been pretty useful, pretty valuable. Clearing up creep, saving mules, and of course switching gears into bio. Meanwhile, Dark, it looks like he has recognized that it's going to be bio, checking his vision here. Yeah, he does see all the Marines, so he's going into 1-1 upgrades into Ling Bane. If you recall, last game we would have seen a Roach Horn and +1 range by now. So we have Bio versus Ling Bane. Fast Infestation Pit here out of Dark. That's going to be a 620 Infestation Pit. If I'm not mistaken, Dark, he's very fond of going Ling Bane into Ultra, if he can get away with it. So we'll see if this leads into a Hive into Ultra Tech. That would make the most sense. Keep an eye on Dark. Meanwhile, GuMiho building up back at home. Throwing down 3 more Raxes. I believe this is an 8-rack setup. Checking the production here. Yes, he's getting up to 8 Raxes on 3 bases. He's not taking his gases. This might be the beginning here of a 3-base all-in. Especially if these Raxes don't get add-ons. So right now we're looking for a couple of things. We're looking for gases at the 3rd base. We're looking for add-ons here on these Raxes. And we're looking for a 2nd factory. If we don't see any of that, then again, we're just going to commit here on 3 bases with pure Marine tank. At this point, yeah, it's an 8-rack 3-base all-in. So this is a build that's seen a lot more frequently on some of these smaller maps. As you can see, we're going to be making up to, I believe, 12 Marines at a time. On larger maps like Frostline, this is a little bit risky here, just because the rush distance by ground is longer. And as you can see, no add-ons. So no add-ons, just pure 12 Marine production, no gases, no factory, no nothing, just pure Marine tank. Bailey's rolling in, nice missile goes up on the Lings. But the tanks are called out. Massive catch here, and before the all-in can really get going, the tanks go down. The Bio Army does trade. GuMiho is still pushing in. Dark back at home. He has to mass up. Now, is Dark being too greedy? He's taking in towards Ultras. Right now, it's not the time to tech, though. We need nothing but Army. We need nothing but Ling Bane. So far, it was a strong start for Dark, catching out those tanks. GuMiho stims in. Up. So far, decent target firing, but alas, still being overwhelmed. Yeah, the Bio Army is going down. Rallies into the army. GuMiho still pushing. And again, it's all or nothing for GuMiho. He has to break through. The longer this goes on, the better it is for Dark. Remember, Dark, he is teching up into Ultras, or sorry, I should say into Hive. I'm getting ahead of myself. Into Hive Tech, goes for a massive counterattack. You see a full wall surrounding the base. It'll buy time. True. GuMiho moves in. Oh! Nice kiting. Oh, does take some Bailings to the face. Meanwhile, the wall has broken and Lings, they flood in. Yeah, Bailings to get here just in time. Oh! Yeah, they will connect. On the one hand, Darky does get a base. Oh, does get the mineral line as well. Yeah, drone's going to be going down. Darky also cripples the economy of GuMiho. GuMiho still moving in. Bailings, they're not quite done yet. Going for the Bailey Nest. Bailey Nest is going to get picked off. Clutch Raid's used. Oh my god. Saving it. He's trying to. Saves the Bailey Nest, shuts down the biome. And GuMiho is running out of steam here. No mining at the third. Dropping into the main. Darky has a backup fourth base. Doesn't have the drones though. Doesn't have the economy. Takes down a full medevac. Massive snipe. Yeah, and Darky's all of this. GG gets called. The all-in fails, and Darky will hold. He will survive. He will take game number 2. Whew. GG. Darky will take the second game. Again, GuMiho, as we did mention, didn't take any gases, didn't throw down a factory, he didn't get any add-ons. It was just an 8-racks, 3-base all-in, but it was so important that Darky engaged first. If you remember, the all-in started with GuMiho getting caught in the center of the map and losing his first 2 tanks. Like, that was a brutal start. Momentum is a big factor when it comes to these all-ins, so for GuMiho to lose that much momentum that early on, that was brutal. And because of that, GuMiho took him so long to actually push into the bases and bring down the expansion. Did get a hatchery eventually, but by the time he did, he was also losing SCVs across the map, losing reinforcements, and just running out of steam, bleeding out too much. GG. GG, well played. Darky will take a 2-0 lead here, and we have game 3 up ahead of us here. We're on match point. Dark needs one more win to claim the series. Meanwhile, GuMiho needs to fight back here and now to extend the series. And I'm hoping for a game 4. I'm hoping for a game 5. I mean, so far, both games have been very entertaining, especially game 1. Like, game 1, we peaked early, Pappy. We peaked early with game 1, and even here in game 2, it was very intense as well, and I'm hoping to sink my teeth into some more GuMiho versus Dark, but the pressure is on GuMiho. Pressure is on. Checking our vetoes. Ooh, I did end up losing the vetoes, but we are getting ready here for game number 3. Game 3 is going to be on Abyssal Reef. Oh. Okay, Abyssal Reef, one of the larger maps in the map pool. Now, something important to take note of here. So far, we've actually embraced all 3 large maps. We've gone into King's Cove, gone into Frostline, and gone into now Abyssal Reef as well. Abyssal Reef is similar to King's Cove, where it's a very large map and also very defensive, very secure. There's a lot of controversy, of course, about the older maps that were brought into the map pool. I'm referring to King's Cove, Abyssal Reef, and Neon Violet Square, as opposed to Frostline, which is a map that is more open, which we did mention. Which we did speak on, talking about Frostline and how exposed the bases are, which I'm sure... which I'm sure factored into GuMiho's decision to go for a 3-base all-in, but here on Abyssal Reef, it's a large map and it's also a very defendable map. What I'm getting at, if GuMiho did want to slow the game down, if he wanted to embrace mech, this would be the map for it. Oh boy. This would be the map for it. So we'll see how our players open up. Meanwhile, we spoke about Dark trying to go for a gasless opener and how he didn't go for it on King's Cove. Abyssal Reef, he could cut corners, can rush into an earlier third base, can skip his gases. There is a lot that can come into play. Sorry, we're just remaking the party. If you remember, because one of the admins almost lagged out in the middle of the last game, it did mess up the party and it bugged the party a little bit. So we are trying to resolve that issue. Ooh, meanwhile, just catching up with the chat. Let's go. Yo, thank you so much. Meanwhile, sorry, it happened during the end of the game. But a big shout out in the chat. Thank you so much to Therius. Thank you, Pappy. Thank you. Thank you for the Twitch Prime for the first time. Thank you for the support. We do appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the casting. Hope you enjoy the content. Hope you enjoy the StarCraft. Again, we are live on a daily basis here on the CranKy Ducklings. We're live twice a day, every single day. We were actually live earlier this morning covering the Kung Fu Cup Warcraft 3 Evolution Edition. Now we're here tonight with the Chicken King Cup number 7. So we're live again twice a day, every single day. We're actually going to be live once again in around 7 hours time with the HSL, with Hispanic Star League. That is going to be at 2 a.m. my time, at 1 a.m. KST. Again, that's in around 7 hours. But here we go. You can hear the beeps. We are loading into our next game. Let's go. You freeze every time someone freezes. Unironically true, I stun. Unironically. Ay. Ah, no. But yeah, thank you so much for the support. Thank you. Do appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the emotes in the chat, and we also provide replay packs to our subscribers on Discord if you want to join our Discord server. But here we go. We're jumping into game 3, potentially the final game of the series, as spawning in the top left-hand corner of Abyssal Reef, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, down in the series 0-2. He has to fight back here and now to force an extended series and potentially force the ace match. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, leading the series 2-0. One game away from advancing on to the grand finals. It is Dark. Oh. Going for a pull first. Let's go. So pull first opener out of Dark. Meanwhile, GuMiho going for what looks to be 2-Axe Reaper on the low ground. So both players are mixing up their builds and changing their openers. Now, if you recall, I did speak on a gasless opener, and I spoke on how Dark is very fond of playing gasless on certain maps, on maps like Abyssal Reef and King's Cove. And what happened on King's Cove? Well, GuMiho proxy 2-Axe. Here on Abyssal Reef, 2-Axe Reaper. Both aggressive builds, and both builds that are designed to punish gasless openers. Now, Dark did open standard on King's Cove, and Dark was able to punish and shut down GuMiho and make a game out of it. Here on Abyssal Reef, we have a pull first, which means early queen production, which means, once again, Dark should be okay, but it does look like from here he can skip his gases and go for a faster expansion. So this might be a little bit better for GuMiho. He has potential to get damage done. Yeah, gases. So gases opener out of Dark. Again, this is what GuMiho wanted out of Dark in the previous game, in game 1 of the series. And GuMiho, he has potential to get a lot of damage done here. Now, the reason why GuMiho has more potential than normal is because there's no link speed. There's no link speed here, and typically the way to shut down 2-Axe Reaper is to buy time for link speed to kick in, and then your speedlings will shut this down. But here, there is no link speed. Reapers, they push, but Dark did open pool first, and Dark, he can buy time. So Lings, they do bypass the army, they head towards the natural. Dark, he's aware of what's going on, and ideally Dark wants to keep these Reapers busy to build up his queens. So the Reapers, they are forced to kite back. Oh, almost surrounded. CC is delayed, and GuMiho is racing back home. Yeah, he turns everything back around, he's racing back home, and Dark is just buying time. He's just buying time, delaying the aggression, delaying the push. Reaper taking a lot of hits, Lings are in the mineral lines. And again, this isn't really getting too much damage done. It's not meant to get damage done. It is delaying the Reapers. And this is giving Dark more time to make queens. To build up his queen count. To have a defense. As now he's up to 2 queens. We have a 3rd queen on the way. Lings are building up. Remember, still no gas, so no link speed. But Dark, he is being given a lot of time here to respond. So GuMiho moves in. I mean, this is still going to be a shaky defense here for Dark, as he is stuck defending. First they poke in. Looking for way into the main. Ling's in position. Oh my god. They do get one. Not quite. They threaten the Reapers. One drone goes down. And Dark defends. Whew, Dark, he does defend. Did sustain some losses, that is true. Did lose 6 Lings. Forced to morph in some gas geysers, but Dark, he does hold. And GuMiho turning this initial 2-Axe Reaper into 2-1-1. Sorry, did I say 2-1-1? A 3-1-1. Oh. Much more aggressive, actually. The Overlord does not confirm this. Overlord is going to be zoned away, but GuMiho, he's being hyper aggressive. He can even turn this into a Hellbat push. First things first, you see what I see? Fast +1. Fast +1 attack here on the way for GuMiho. Likewise, third racks on the way. What we should have seen here is a third CC, a third command center to build up into a greater economy into the mid game. Instead of a third CC, third racks. Factory into starport +1. This looks like a 2-base all-in. Looks like a 2-base all-in here from GuMiho. Reapers, they get across the map. They get 2 drone kills so far. Oh, they get surrounded. Nice catch here from Dark. The dust surround does clean this up. But Dark is still in the dark. Still 0 gases, no lair, no roaches, no ling speed, no baneling speed. Purely droning and queens. Dark is being so greedy here, delaying his gases. Now he's taking his gases, but I'm concerned about this stim timing. As GuMiho is getting ready. Now this does feel a little bit premature. GuMiho is moving out with stim. +1 is halfway done. There we go, Roach Horn on the way here for Dark. Dark, he does spot the initial bio push. He doesn't know how committed it is. No armory, so no Hellbats. I mean, no Hellions either, to be fair. As GuMiho, he will catch one of the Overlords. Nicely done. Overlord goes down. Supply blocks Dark. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, massive supply block. 5 Overlords on the way. Now it was just a shaky start here for Dark. And Darky is in trouble. GuMiho is holding onto that stim. That's a lot of queens. Jesus. That's 8 queens for Dark. I mean, this is the backbone of his army right now. Just mass queen. GuMiho is reinforcing. Again, just rallying everything across the map. Remember, there is no third CC with this. Just 2 bases, stim, combat shields, +1 is about to finish up in a couple of seconds, just in time for the medevacs. Yes, now it's time to stim. Stims in. Oh, rush out 2s. Keeps the queen alive. 1 queen goes down. He gets 1. Just 1 for the time being. Takes down the roaches. 2nd queen goes down. He gets 2. He's going to get 3, but he's running out of marines. Barely running out of steam. Nice concave here from Dark. Darky's holding on, and the longer this goes on, the better it is for Dark. Darky's on 61 drones. He's on just under 3 base saturation, and GuMiho is 2 base all in. But GuMiho is on a timer. And again, the start was, I mean, the start of the game here was solid for GuMiho, but it is slipping away. Tanktail Siege. Denying mining in the mineral line. And this is a very abusable position. But GuMiho, he needs more damage. He needs to get more done. Trades with the roaches. These are trades that Dark can afford. Nice target firing though. Delays the expansion. Takes down the drone. Not bad. Now we have a third CC on the way that's on location for GuMiho. Again, this is a very late expansion. Very late. So GuMiho, he still needs more damage. He's still down over 20 workers. Sims in, gets a queen, gets 1, gets 2, gets 3. Oh my god. Does catch 3 queens. Very nice. Dark getting caught with his pants down. Dark, he's down to 2 queens. He can't even inject all of his bases. GuMiho getting damage done. Liberation has arrived. He sets up here on the low ground. And again, GuMiho just trading with the army, picking off whatever he can. Is slowly expanding. Dark does confirm. Like, this is still not ideal for GuMiho, but he's had some nice moments here. Getting the queens, picking up a couple of workers, laying the expansion. Oh, Piles will take down the lib. Nice pick up. The Liberator does go down. GuMiho trying to stim in, but that's a lot of roaches. And there's not enough marines. Yeah, marine cann's being thinned out, and Dark, he breaks out. He breaks out, he shuts down the tanks, and GuMiho's gonna lose everything here. Yeah, it was risky being active like this, but he will lose the army, and GuMiho has nothing left. And again, like back at home, he's just now trying to saturate. And Dark, he's done it. He's done it. He's broken the contain. The 2-base all-in from GuMiho failed. And Dark is snowballing out of control. GuMiho harassing across the map. The CC has to lift. Dark pushing in. Decent surround. The boys are being pulled. This is maybe the best fight that GuMiho can hope for, but alas, there's just so many roaches. Darky's overwhelming. Takes down the bio army, takes down the SCVs. 12 SCVs going to be going down. And again, GuMiho, he has nothing left here. He had no longevity in this game. He needed more time. And again, he was building himself up towards it, but GG gets called. Darky will punish, and Dark will take the series at 3-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Dark, he will claim the series, will advance on. Again, GuMiho, he had a very strong series, I would say. I don't think the scoreline accurately reflects how intense game 1 and even game 2 were, but GuMiho, he was just so aggressive here. And again, he did attempt quite hard to punish the build of Dark. I love that Dark did go pool first, by the way. He was able to buy time, as we mentioned. Dark, if he had gone for a standard gasless opener, he would have been vulnerable. But going pool first meant that Dark actually forced GuMiho back home, bought some time. I don't blame GuMiho going for the 2-base all-in, but the size of the map was also hurting him. The defensive features as well. The fact that there's a ramp coming into the natural makes it difficult to push up into the natural as well. We saw that's when Dark pulled off the queen defense with like the massive concave on top of the ramp. Again, like these are features that make it difficult to all in, and GuMiho, he had to fight Dark and also fight the map as well. He had to fight the map there, and alas, it was an uphill battle for GuMiho. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, Dark, he will claim the series, and Dark, he's our first player to make it to the grand finals. Question becomes, who's up next? Who is up next? Let's go. Here we go, as we are getting ready here for our next semifinals. We're getting ready for our PvP. I guess I should also switch our scenes over and catch up on the brackets. I haven't been able to do so for the time being. Un momento. As we just jumped right into the first game. But for those that weren't here yesterday, here we go. We do have our brackets for the Chicken King Grand Cup number 7. We had our initial round of 8. So we had GuMiho. GuMiho took down Creator 2-1. Dark took down Percival. Zoun took down Beyond 2-0, and Lemon took down Ryung as well. So this was last night's broadcast. And now we have some updates here. So, of course, Dark with the 3-0. Dark is now the first in the finals. And up next, we have Zoun versus Lemon in the PvP. Let's go. Again, Zoun already proving himself against Byeon. Likewise, Lemon having a very intense series against Ryung last night as well. Did have an intense back and forth in that best of 3. But now it's all about the best of 5s. Vetoes are underway, and we're going to take this moment to go on a short break. We're going on a short break here. Oh, este Paquito. Ga, papi, ga. Good to see you. Good to see you. Este Paquito. But alas, we are going to be going on a short break, and when we come back, we'll have the next series. We'll have that best of 5. See you soon after this short break. Shouldn't be long. Should not be long. Oh. welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our second series of the night, to our second semifinals match in the Chicken King Grand Cup number 7, day 2. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Frostline, we have our Taiwanese Protoss player, the blue Protoss. It is Lemon. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Frostline, we have our South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss. It is Zoun. And if you're in the chat, predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck as we jump into our best of 5. Zoun coming into this is going to be the favorite player, that is true, but Lemon, he has proven himself time and time again. We've seen Lemon take it to players like Solar, take it to players like Ryung, take it to even players like Hero as well. What I will say though is that Lemon, he does seem to thrive a little bit more in some of the other matchups. Here in PvP, I haven't seen as many upsets from Lemon. And I've seen Lemon take down some of the big Korean Terran and Zerg players, that is true, but up against the big Korean Protosses, a little bit less so. So we'll see how Lemon comes in prepared for this. So far, 2 gate opener. 2 gate opener out of Lemon, 2 gate opener out of Zoun as well. From here, standard opener, standard builds. No one is cutting corners, no one is going for the max packs, no one is rushing into a faster expansion. Not yet. As both players are on patrol, both players are looking for the second pylon to make sure that there's no proxy, and there it is, a pylon has been thrown down. So Zoun, he's aware of the second pylon of Lemon, likewise Lemon aware of the second pylon of Zoun, so everyone knows that there is no proxy, no shenanigans, not yet. Up next, we're going to be looking for the third pylon, and likewise looking for the first students of choice, whether it's a double Stalker, double Adept, or Stalker Sentry, or even Sentry Expand. Cybercore is done. What do you got? Okay, Stalker, double Stalker here out of Zoun. Meanwhile, Stalker Sentry from Lemon. So this is a bit of a more standard, more safe, more macro-oriented opener here by Lemon. The early Sentry does allow you to have a lot more scouting information, especially in the latest patch, especially in the most recent form of StarCraft. Sentry-based openers are so common because of what you just saw. Energy overcharge. Bam! Energy overcharge into a hallucination scout across the map, and you will see everything your opponent's doing. So hallucination scouts and sentry openers are the standard and the go-to in PvP. Zoun, of course, does skip the sentry into double Stalker. So Zoun is being more aggressive. So double Stalker into a third and fourth Stalker as well. Zoun, he is rallying across the map, and it's on Zoun to try to punish Lemon and potentially snipe the sentry. Speaking of, sentry moves out, same with the Stalker. Zoun does have more firepower, does poke in, no shield battery. Oh, no shield battery on the low ground. Stalkers getting damage down on the pylon. Reinforcements on the way. Lemon looking for the force field, trying to catch out the Stalker. And we'll see if he can. And he has plenty of force fields. Oh, trying to bait him in. Zoun doesn't take the bait, he does pull away. And he buys time for his third and fourth Stalker. Again, Lemon looking a little bit bare bones here. Stalker goes down, massive pickup, could lose the sentries. And again, without a shield battery, he will not hold on. From here, Zoun has done it. He breaks through the defensive line, takes down all 3 sentries. And what is there left? He's down to 2 Stalkers. Boys are being pulled. He will trade, takes down a Stalker, going for another warp in. And these just better trades here for Zoun. It looks like it won't be enough to end the game, but nice trades nonetheless. Zoun does pull away. Oh, gets punished. Behind this, of course, both players expanding. Natural on the way for Zoun, natural here for Lemon as well. Now, Zoun's base is a little bit more delayed because he invested into those Stalkers. And as the dust settles, again, Zoun, he lost 3 Stalkers. He killed 3 Stalkers and 3 sentries as well. So much more efficient here for our red Protoss. Zoun shading in, past the army, into the mineral line, forcing a recall. 2 Adepts, they one-shot probes. So far, good damage, getting 1, 2, 3 probe kills. Very nice, getting up to 4. Ay. 4 workers going down, so even though Lemon did have a faster expansion, he will lose that worker lead. Lemon losing 4 workers, Zoun just coming out on top. Better economy, larger army, both players taking up into Blink, into the mid game. So Lemon is in a worse position. How do you recover? Fast third. Fast third based on the way for Lemon. This is a way to recover economically to try to catch back up. Zoun instead, extra gateways. Ooh, 2 more gates. Ay. Getting up to 4 gate Blink Stalker. So 4-gate blink out of Zoun. Meanwhile, Lemon 2-gate blink into a third. So Lemon is being greedy and Zoun is about to confirm. Hallucination comes in. Zoun, he will spot the expansion, and now the pressure is on Zoun to punish this third. He knows. And you can see immediately Zoun, he just responds. He responds, he rotates with everything he has. Does rally across the map. He's pushing in. Denies the scout. And we'll see if Lemon can maintain this expansion. Now Zoun, he's not all in. He is expanding himself, but it's a much later expansion. Stalkers, they push forward. Zoun does have the Stalker lead. Oh, going for the Sentry. Sentry gets picked up. Nice blink control, takes down the Stalker as well. And Zoun is breaking through. The boys are being pulled. Probe's going to be falling. And Lemon is bleeding out too much. Down to 3 Stalkers. And only 3. Shield battery does complete. Lemon trying to make a stand, and looks like he will hold on. Whew. Just barely. Does hold at the same time. It F's across the map. 5 probe kills. Nicely done. But the Prism has arrived. Again, Zoun can warp in at 4 Stalkers at a time. He's going for the dive. Going for the dive. Going for the punish. Takes down the Stalkers. 2 Stalkers left. GG gets called as Lemon is broken, and Zoun will snowball out of control, taking game number 1. Whew. GG. GG well played. A solid game there out of Zoun. Again, very, very intense game 1 as well. Very intense game 1 from the beginning, with Zoun moving out with his first 4 Stalkers, sniping the Sentry, sniping the Stalkers, punishing the third base. Zoun, he was keeping up with everything that Lemon was bringing to the table. Very impressive play there from Zoun. And with that, that leads us into game number 2. And we'll see if Lemon can find his footing. Here so far, we saw that Lemon, he was playing standard. He was, opening up Sentry, getting a third base. Lemon was building up. But Zoun was the aggressor and finding a lot of success as well. A lot of success. So we'll see if Lemon can turn the tables. Maybe be the aggressor instead. Maybe. Now we're jumping into game number 2 and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Amygdala. We have the Taiwanese Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, down in the series, but looking to bounce back and tie things up. It is Lemon. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, leading the series 1-0, looking to extend that lead and take another win. It is Zoun. Here we go. We are going to be opening up. Once again, setting up on the high ground, and both players set out their probes, and Lemon, he does rally. Okay, does move out. I was about to say, based on this trajectory, he was rallying towards the top corner of the map, but no, never mind. Just moving in for the scout. Nothing crazy. No proxy. We're moving in. And once again, double gate opener out of Zoun. We should be seeing a second gateway here from... Hello. Only 1 gateway, so Lemon, he's going to be switching it up here. He's going to be cutting corners. So gateway into Cybercore, into expansion. A greedy build here by Lemon. There's a Cybercore. Lemon doing his best to max Pax impression. Ooh, and Zoun, he's about to confirm. And Zoun will have the option to 1 base all in. He'll have the option to respond with an all in. Basically, what's happening here is, Zoun is confirming, Lemon, he is cutting corners, he is cutting a gateway, cutting out any kind of Stalker-based opener. From here, he can go for a faster expansion. He can also go for, ideally, a Stargate first, so Stargate into Nexus. A much more economic start for Lemon. Yep, there's a Stargate, as I mentioned, so Stargate into Expand. Zoun, he's here to pylon block, that's why he forces out the Zealots. Zealot is here to make sure the pylon doesn't get thrown down, and there is the expand. Now Zoun, he doesn't respond by moving out with another probe, so it looks like we're going for a much more standard response. Zoun has the option to all in, but it looks like he's opting not to. He'll expand. So setting up for his natural. Stalkers do fan out. With this target opener, it should be an Oracle. Should be Oracle based to harass across the map to get some economic damage. Now, it's not easy to play this style. We'll see if Lemon can get away with it. Says he expands from Zoun. Again, Zoun's natural is later than the natural of Lemon, so Zoun is falling behind economically. That's why he's being active. That's why he does push. Oh. Couple shots go off on the shield battery. Oh, a bit of a misclick. Yeah, rough misclick there from Zoun. Does miss a volley. Reinforcing with another Stalker. But the shield battery is done. Oracle is revealed. And back at home, Zoun, he does have a shield battery. Yeah, he has a shield battery, double sentry. Zoun, he's perfectly fine back at home. He should be able to defend. So, nice movement so far. Spending that shield battery energy. Oracle dips in, sentries are in position, and sentries do defend. Sentries are no longer tickle in PvP. Not for a long time, as they were buffed, well, like 1 or 2 patches ago. Now they do bonus damage to shields, which specifically does impact the PvP matchup. So sentries are more of a threat, Oracle gets zoned away, and Zoun holds. Zoun does defend. From here, both players expanding, saturating. Zoun just keeping up with the Oracle. Make sure it doesn't catch him off guard. Both players taking up into a Twilight Council into Blink. And Lemon, he didn't make a second Oracle. Interesting. Just the one. Oh, just one Oracle gets caught out. Oh, one more volley does fall. Ay, ay, ay. And suddenly Lemon's in a rough position. Lemon, he is down in Stalkers. He did invest into this Stargate. And so far, it wasn't worth it. It was not worth it. I just assumed that, oh, you know, he'd be able to poke in, maybe get another probe here or there, maybe get some damage over time. But that is not the case. Both players are expanding. Zoun currently does have that Stalker lead. But with both players taking their third bases, looks like we're building up towards the mid-game. So we're calming things down. Zoun does move out, but again, he's expanding behind this. And Lemon, he is somewhat in position. He shouldn't lose the base. We'll see, though. Zoun is waddling in. Does get eyes on the third. Gets a couple of volleys off. Lemon, he should be able to respond. Base is getting low. Getting surprisingly low. Get 2 more volleys. Trading with the army. And Lemon, he will deflect. Oof. I spoke too soon. The base is getting insanely low here. It almost goes down. Zoun pulls away. Does pull back. Very nice force field. Ensuring he has a greater concave. Likewise pulls away. And no major losses. 2 sentries did get picked off. That was Lemon, of course, picking up the sentries, and the base does survive, but on very low HP. Does survive, does hold. Whew. Okay. We made it. Now getting to the mid-game. Both players saturating, now working towards charge, working towards the forge, +1. As both players get into more of a gateway heavy composition, then we switch into Archon production. The reason for this is because Zealots are much more efficient coming into the mid-game. They do so well tanking Stalker shots and closing the distance and collapsing on top of Stalkers, almost the same way that Lings trade well against Stalkers as well. To deal with that, you need splash damage. There are some players that do like to indulge in Colossus, for example, but it can be quite risky and quite threatening to go into Colossus. Archons are the easier kind of transition. Going into Archons, and then going into Immortal production. Speaking of Archons, there we go. Temple Archives is on the way. So Temple Archives for Zoun. Both players take their 4th expansions. No tech yet from Lemon. He does go for the Robo instead. Now, Lemon has the option to try to skip Archons, and he could try to go straight into Colossus or Disruptors. But it takes longer to embrace that kind of tech. but it is an option. As Templar Archives is now done for Zoun. Rover completes. What's it going to be? Do we go for the Bay? Lemon's still being active. He's going to get spotted, gets punished. Does steal the charge lots. And again, Lemon, tech-wise, he's falling behind. He's massing up his Zealots and his Stalkers, that is true, but Zoun he's about to reinforce with his Archons. And there they come. Archons are warping in. And Archons, they do so amazingly here against Zealots. And Zealots are prone to clumping, prone to stacking. So run by on the way. Archon is in position. And so far, good kiting. And does kite back. Lemon is deflected. As more Archons are warping in. Getting up to 2. Building up. Lemon still refusing to throw anything down. Still not taking his gases. There we go. One more gas on the way. Just now getting up to 4. But Lemon's still just pure Stalker Zealot. So as the game progresses, I do feel like Lemon is being outscaled. Zoun is in a better position somewhat. Lemon, he rotates with his entire army. And Zoun, he has to respond. Does steal the Zealots. Archons, we need them. Lemon is moving in. Does push forward. Zealots, they get choked up. Archons have arrived. And Zoun, he will deflect this. He will shut this down. The Zealots, they fall one after the other. And now where's the support? And this is what we need Archons for the Blue Protoss. Yeah, these Zealots, they trade so well. Diving on the Stalkers, tanking shots. Again, they're very cheap units. And it's just pure Stalker here from Lemon. Now moving in with his own charge loss, that's what the Archons are for. And Zoun, he breaks through. He just breaks through the army. He just has a superior composition. Takes down the charge loss, takes down the pylon. Lemon kiting back. Oh, we'll pick off the Archons. Oh, never mind. The juggling. Yeah, it does bring them down. Denies the warp in. Nice pickups. But Zealots, they still have arrived. Zoun pulling away. He respects this. Doesn't overextend. Behind this, Zoun claiming his gold. Going for another expansion. Warping in back at home. Zoun did outtrade Lemon. Lemon overextending, I would say. Moving far across the map. Who catches who? Yeah, Zealot's going to be coming in. This time there are no Archons for Zoun. Still very close, very tense. Now with the gold base, Zoun does have a boosted economy. That is true. Bearing in mind that Zoun does not have extra gases. No gases at the 3rd, no gases at the 4th base, and only 1 gas here at the natural. So lower gas count. Lemon does have an extra gas. That's how we can afford all these Stalkers. Just going into Mass Stalker instead. And he might overwhelm Zoun here. At the same time, though, Zealots do get across the map. They force a defensive warp in. Oh! Lemon punishing the gold base. Not bad. Nice rotation. Probes are going down. Zoun, his economy is being denied. Lemon making use of these Mass Stalkers. And again, against this heavy of a Stalker composition, that's where Immortals would be ideal. But remember, Zoun, he didn't take his gas. Doesn't have the economy for Immortals. Still trading with Lemon. Lemon, he peels off a couple of Zealots, heads towards that northern base. Does get here first. Oh. It's back up though. Gets caught out. Lemon pushing in, going for the Nexus. And Nexus under fire. It's going to go down. Massive pickup. Zoun trying to collapse in. Let's catch a couple of Stalkers. Not bad. Stalkers are going down. As Zealots clash towards the top side. Zoun does have the better upgrades. Yeah, he overwhelms. Zoun does get the better fight. 11 about to get into +3. At this point, just mass gateway compositions. Let's go. Just again, mainly Stalker here for Lemon. Zell stay close the distance. Stalker's pushing in. And Zoun, he does break through once again. He still has Zealous left over. More Stalkers going down. Rough trades here for Lemon. Again, trading gas for minerals. Zoun did lose the gold. Just rebuilding. Takes right-hand base. Shuts down the gases. Lyman's still trying to hold on. He's bleeding out a lot here. He's again losing more zealots. Losing more stalkers. Still getting punished. And roughly in control. And with that, Zoun does take that supply lead. Zealots is still stuck in the back line. Trying to make their way through. Trying. As Zealots do get on top of the Stalkers. Likewise, 11, his army does crumble. So just very nice wing control here from Zoun. Preserving those Zealots. And now collapsing in. And at this point, he might just have enough. He might have enough Zealots here to just break the main army. Blinks in, GG gets called, he does overwhelm, and Zoun, he will take a 2-0 lead. Whew, GG. GG, he will take a lead. Again, it was a very intense game here. A lot of engagements, a lot of back and forth throughout almost the entire game. We did see that basically, we did take note of the extra gas geyser for Lemon, and I was curious as to what it was going to be. He refused to take up. It was for Mass Stalker, and it just didn't really scale too well as the game progressed. As you saw, the Zealots were just trading better here for Zoun, able to mass up more Zealots, be more efficient with his army, despite it kind of being a lesser army in a way, or a cheaper army. I mean, that's one of the reasons why he was just being so much more efficient against those Stalkers. And Lemon was overwhelmed. He was overwhelmed. GG. And that leads us here into our next game, into game number 3, and we'll see if Lemon can bounce back. The pressure is on. The pressure is on, and I would say that Lemon, he had a couple of good moments here in this game as well, where he was able to catch his opponent overextending, snipe the Warp Prism, take a supply lead at like 1 or 2 moments. But now we load into a much smaller map, into Ultra Love. Let's go. Loading into Ultra Love. And we'll see how this story ends, if it ends. I'm hoping for a game 4 or game 5, but Zoun is one game away from making it to the finals. As a reminder, Dark is patiently waiting. He's patiently waiting in the next round for the winner of this series, for a Protoss. Which one? About to find out. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ultra Love, we do have the Taiwanese Protoss player, the blue Protoss, down in the series, down heavily here. We'll see if he can bounce back and make a series out of this. It is Lemon. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss, leading the series 2-0. It is Zoun. Unomas, one more game is all he needs, and Zoun sets up on the high ground for a Gate Cyber Expand. Let's go. So does Lemon. Now what's happening here is an unwritten rule, or maybe it's a written rule in PvP. Here it is illegal to go for an economic build. Now, what is the difference between Ultra Love and every other map that we've casted so far, like Amygdala and many others, is the ramp. The ramp coming into the natural. Because of this ramp, it is a massive defensive feature in PvP, and it means it is legal, it is viable, it is easier to get away with a gateway into a faster expansion. So you can cut corners, you can be greedy. 2 gate openers are more rare on Ultra Love. And both players are getting ready for that faster Nexus. Now this should just be gateway into Cybercore, into Stargate, into expansion. But if a player is out of position, if a player fails to pylon block, then we could see a player cut corners as a result. Right now we are moving out across the map. Again, the goal of this scouting probe is to pylon block and to make sure that your opponent isn't as greedy as they otherwise could be. If the road is in position, then you can force your opponent to throw down their tech, to throw down that Stargate. And the Zealot, of course, as well. The Zealots are on the way to deal with the pylon, to deal with the probe. The Zealot pops out. Zoun does pull away. Cybercore is done, shows the Stargate. Yeah, Stargate for Lemon, Stargate for Zoun. Both players, they scout each other, both players do confirm. And this is how Phoenix Wars are born. Again, because both players open up economically, because both players get pylon blocked, both players have to play Stargate, both players scout each other, and now you have to make Phoenixes. If any player here tries to make an Oracle, it is very, very risky. It's difficult to pull off. Not impossible, but very difficult to pull off Oracle openers. So this should be Phoenixes, and once you start, you don't stop. Now again, that should be the trajectory here of this game, is Phoenix Wars, but we'll see if either player is crazy enough to deviate and try to make an Oracle. Yeah, nah, no one's crazy. No one is crazy, everyone is sane. Phoenix Wars are upon us. So Father Ferzel goes down for Zoun. So nice pickup here from Lemon. Likewise moving in with a handful of units. Now what I will say is that it is possible, but once again, very, very difficult to transition out of Mass Phoenix and to go into Blink Stalkers. If you try to go into a Blink Stalker transition, you are heavily reliant on your opponent being passive. With their Phoenixes. But again, they shouldn't be. So there we go, second Stargate on the way, so double Stargate, double Phoenix production at 11. Lemon, he doubles down and he commits into the Sky Toss, into Phoenix Wars, and we should be seeing the same from Zoun. Now, this is a really early second Stargate, so this can't... Oh, and Zoun does confirm. Does scout, does confirm, but Epsay do get into the middle, that should not have happened. Probes are going down. Likewise, Zoun poking in. Oh! Zoun here extends, massive pickup. Phoenix goes down. But he's getting probe damage, he's getting probes. Getting up to 5, 5 workers do fall. Getting up to 6. Shedding into the main base and going up to 7. Yeah, brutal pickoffs here. 7 probe kills. Second Stargate's on the way for Zoun. Now Zoun, his Phoenix production is delayed. That is true. Lemon has a massive, or I say massive, he does have a Phoenix lead. So Lemon is in a better position, but he did just lose 8 workers. So Zoun has a better economy for now. Doesn't matter. Is it enough? Lemon, he should know that he's ahead when it comes to Phoenixes, and he just bully. Can just try to bully in. Right now it's 6 versus 4. Ay, ay, ay. Phoenix is still riding across the map. He just now arrived. Lemon, he dives in, and he can win this fight. He can, and he will. Again, losing 1 Phoenix early on, sometimes that's just all it takes. That's all it takes, and with that, Lemon, he will bounce back in this series. He camps the production. And Zoun, how does he recover from this? He doesn't. He lost everything. Again, in Phoenix Wars, you lose 1 Phoenix. That can be game. That can be game, and that has been game here. You can see Zoun is trying to buy time. He drags the army away from the production. But this is a way to buy time. This is not a way to recover, Phoenix-wise. Zoun is still behind, and he will stay behind. And this is why Phoenix Wars are so brutal. They're so, I should say, cutthroat. They're very unforgiving. Very unforgiving. You lose 1 Phoenix, I mean, that's it. Or that can be it. Lemon moves in. Once again, Lemon has nothing to fear. He overwhelms. And Lemon should never lose his Phoenix lead. He should be able to just perpetually just camp the production. Even with the shield battery, yep, GG gets called. Lemon, he bounces back. And we have a series. We have a back and forth. Lemon puts a point on the board. Whew, GG. GG, well played. Yes, Zoun, he was killing probes, that is true, but Zoun, he was late to make that second Stargate, late to make Phoenixes, and he lost his first Phoenix across the map. That was when the game swung heavily in Lemon's favor. Again, you cannot afford to lose a Phoenix, not that early on. Zoun, he just got a little bit too excited, and that leads us into game number 4. Game 4 is going to be on Ley Lines. Now, Ley Lines does not have a ramp coming into the natural. So, unlike the previous map, I should also emphasize maps like Ultra Love, maps like... I mean, Ultra Love comes to mind. I would say Amygdala. Amygdala King's Cove as well. Sorry, not King's Cove, Abyssal Reef, maps that have ramps coming into the natural. These are the maps where you can go into Phoenix Wars. Here on ley lines, not as viable, nowhere near as viable. So we shouldn't see Phoenix Wars here. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ley lines, we have the Taiwanese Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, down in the series, but hey, he does put a point on the board. He fights back. Can he force the ace match? It is Lemon. When life gives you lemons, you make phoenixes. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss himself from South Korea, being forced into a series. We'll see if he can bring it back. He's still one game away from claiming the match and making it to the grand finals. It is Zoun. Here we go. As we are going to be probe scouting across the map. This time gateways on the high ground, and this should be a 2-gate opener. Should be 2-gate openers here all around. We have seen Lemon Elite again in game 1 on Frostline go for a more economic opener, go for a gateway into Cybercore into expansion. So that is an option. That is true. Is an option available. Zoun does open 2-gate, and so does Lemon. Okay, let's go. Also, my apologies, it was on Frostline where Lemon opened up he opened up Stalker Sentry into double Sentry, where he was overwhelmed by the Stalker opener of Zoun. So we're waiting to see the next step. What's the next step here? So far, mirrored build, so far, no proxies, but what are we waiting for? We're waiting for the Cybercore, and we are waiting for the first 2 units. As a reminder, we have different options, different pairings. We can open up double Sentry, we can open up double Stalker, double Adept, Stalker Sentry, or Sentry Expand. There are options. And some are more aggressive than others, some are greedier than others as well. How are we opening up? Waiting for the Cybercore. Cybercore is done. Going to be Stalker Sentry here out of Zoun. And meanwhile, Sentry Expand out of Lemon. Very greedy. This Zealot is a fake out. It's a fake Zealot here. The purpose of this Zealot is to make it look like, again, this Probe Scout sees the building researching. Oh, and there it is. Faster Nexus. So it does fake out with the Zealot, cancels the Zealot, and does go for a very greedy build. Now, Zoun is aware. Zoun scouts. He's aware of the greed here of Lemon, and now the pressure is on Zoun to bounce back. Now he will go for a faster expansion himself. Nice cancel. So Lemon, as a response, he also canceled his Stalker and went for a Sentry Expand as well. This is slightly later, so Lemon, I will say, has the slight edge over his opponent, as Zoun's build was reactive, so you had to react to Lemon. But Zoun had to make a choice. Either react by being greedy like this, or react with aggression, and we have the answer. So we're getting into a longer game state. Zoun behind this, going for his own Twilight Council. Lemon throws down a proxy gateway. He can reinforce across the map. And reinforce. Hallucination moves in. Gets eyes on everything in the main. So far we have, in a way, mirrored builds. Again, Lemon has the slightly faster expansion. Zoun's just now finishing up. Oh, and I did notice the proxy pylon, so I assume just Twilight Council into Blink, but no, that is not the case. Blink is not being researched. Instead, Zoun with a proxy Dark Shrine. Let's go. Does go for the proxy. Lemon with that proxy pylon does reinforce, pushing in. There are 2 shield batteries though. Boys are being pulled. Can Zoun hold on? So far does pull the boys. Oh, does catch out the Stalkers. Nice force field. He gets 1, he gets 2. 2 Stalkers going to be falling. Likewise getting a 3rd Stalker as well. Very nice target firing there out of Zoun. Very nice. And Lemon is still warping in. Still warping in, still committing. Again, it is still just 2-gate versus 2-gate. 3rd gateway now on the way for Lemon. But you know what's scary here? No detection. Now, this is something that happens in PvP. We have seen Max Packs insta-GG to this. We've seen Hero insta-GG to this as well. What I'm referring to here is Proxy Dark Shrine into a DT rush if a Protoss player delays their robo, which is not uncommon. again, even Max Pax has died to this, Heroes died to this, all Protoss players have died to this. We skip the Robo into a faster Nexus. Zero detection. There's no Forge, there's no Robo, there's no Stargate. DTs are warping in, and there is no answer. There's nothing. There's a Robo just now being thrown down, but all that Zoun has to do is waddle in, focus on the pylon, or focus on the Robo, and that's game. Oh boy. So Dark Templar, they're waddling forward. They get past the main army. They do get eyes on the Robo. And they ignore it. They go for the mineral lines. He notices. Probes are going to be going down. GG. GG. Just the instant GG again. It happens to the best of them, Pappy. It happens to the best of them. GG well played. Zoun, he will take the series 3-1. And he will be our second finalist of the night. GG. GG. It's just one of those things about PvP, and it is easy to miss at times. Unfortunately, we saw that there was no hallucination into the main base. If we did notice that there was no research on the Twilight Council, that would be a tell that something is wrong and something is amiss. And as we mentioned, it is not uncommon to delay your Robo in PvP and to go for a later Robo and later Observer, later Immortal production. And again, as you mentioned, like we've seen even Max Pax and Hero just insta-GG to this as well. It happens. It happens. So GG well played. With that, Zoun, he will advance on into the finals, and we have a best of 7 getting ready for us. Let's go. Let us go. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look back yourselves as we switch our scenes over and set up. Oh, one momento. Just putting in the scoreline. Bam, there we go. So we have from the top today's broadcast. We did of course begin with Dark versus GuMiho. It does say 3-0. If you missed it, I recommend the VODs. It was a crazy intense back and forth best of 5 between Dark and GuMiho. Did go in favor of Dark, of course, in the end, but it was still a bang of a series. Dark, he did advance on into the finals. Zoun takes down Lemon 3-1. Was a closer back and forth instead, with Lemon taking some maps and making a series out of it. But now we have our best of 7, Dark versus Zoun, in the finals. We're here to determine who is the king of the chickens. Who's it gonna be? Who has the biggest chicken, Pappy? As we are getting ready here for that best of 7, vetoes are underway. We're going to be going on a short break, and when we return, we will have the grand finals. We'll see you guys soon after this short break. See you soon, Pappy. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the grand finals of the Chicken King Grand Cup number 7. It has been an intense tournament here. 2 days straight, 2 days of non-stop StarCraft action, and now we are here. We are back with the grand finals, a best of 7 ZVP. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of King's Cove, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg. It is Dark. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss. It is Zoun. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is Gamba time. Predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series and claim the tournament and be the biggest chicken of them all, the Chicken King, if you will. Let's go. Let's go. I remember, I think it was yesterday, someone's asking, it's like, why are they not the Duck King? Why are they chickens? True. That's a good question. That's a unfortunately, it's not our tournament, unfortunately. We are merely the casters. Again, shout out to those working behind the scenes. Shout out to the admins and those working on Team Little Fairy. They are the organizers of this tournament, alongside events like Little Fairy Cup and even Little League Cup as well. They do host a lot of invitationals and a lot of tournaments throughout the weeks and throughout the months. So much love here for putting this all together, for allowing these players to compete and to face off here for us all tonight. Thank you so much. As we're now jumping into our best of 7, so far, Hatch Gas Pool, Standard Opener out of Dark, likewise Zoun going for his own Gate Expand into Cybercore as well. Everything looking normal, everything looking as it should. So far, so good. When it comes to our vetoes, Game 1 is going to be on King's Cove, Game 2 on Amygdala, followed by Whistles of Gold, Abyssal Reef, Ultra Love, El Dorado, and Frostline. Again, vetoes were limited as, you know, there aren't that many. I mean, we have 9 maps in the best of 7, so only 1 veto each. I believe Neon Violet Square was vetoed alongside Whispers of Gold. Oh, wait, no, sorry, not Whispers of Gold. Neon Violet Square and Ley Lines, actually. Interesting. Neon makes sense. Neon is a little bit more of one of the extremes. It's on the extreme side of things, is the largest map in the map pool. Ley Lines, interesting choice. A little bit more, I would say, middle of the road. Not one of the extremes. Interesting. But now, though, going to be settling in. Third base now on the way here for Dark. Likewise, Zoun going for his tech of choice, going for a Stargate opener back in the main. So far, so good. Probe gets hunted down. The probe is dealt with. Zoun building up towards an Oracle, towards potentially even a Void Ray opener as well. True, he does have options, either an Oracle or a Void Ray. Regardless, will both lead into an expansion into the third. There it is, Oracle's on the way. Again, the Oracle designed to get across the map, to scout, to harass, deal economic damage, to support the army, and to keep the third base safe. So a very standard, very safe setup here from Zoun. Getting into the mid game. And again, welcome one and all to King's Cove. King's Cove is one of the larger maps in the map pool, is known for its macro, known for its late game. The reasoning for this is, 1, the rush distance by ground is very long on King's Cove. 2, also very defendable 3-base setup. We have a very narrow ramp coming into the natural, so defensively from the side of the Protoss, it's very easy to just turtle up and to defend this location. Likewise, the third base also has a ramp as well, and likewise there aren't multiple avenues to harass and to attack the natural and the third. It's very direct. And when it comes to defending these ramps, very straightforward. So we often don't really see much aggression on 2 and 3 bases. Instead, we see it on 4 bases. You know, at stage, shading to the mineral line, getting 2 drone kills so far, getting up to 3, taking a lot of hits, overextending. Oh my god. The Oracle does overextend, taking a lot of hits, down to 3 HP. And Zoun has to calm down. He can always recall back home. For now, does pull back. Back at home, his third base is somewhat exposed. Lings they move out for a counterattack, but thankfully Zoun, he has kept his second Oracle at home to defend. So the expansion should be safe. It's safe and sound. Dark going to be opening up a lair first. So lair opener out of Dark. I don't see Nevo Chamber, so we're not going into +1 melee into Ling Hydra. That is not the case here. With an earlier lair, this could be to invest into a more Hydra heavy composition, into Hydra Lurker, into a 3-base all-in. This can lead just into Roach Ravager play, or it can even lead into Muta play. Mutas are more viable on some of these larger maps, just because it is more difficult to punish a Muta player on King's Cove. We'll see what it's going to be. Do we go into Hydras, Roaches, or Mutas? For now, the Oracles do move out. Dark is in position. Likewise, Stasis into the main. Oh, no reaction! Yeah, Dark, he does react too late. Massive Stasis goes off, catching half the mineral line. Very nicely done. Likewise, Zoun, he also, I believe, did scout the lair timing. He saw the lair. Meanwhile, Dark going to +1 range, going for the Roach Horn. We have confirmation. Is taking all 6 gases. 2 gases in the main, 2 gases here at the natural, and 2 gases at the third base. So we're waiting to see any extra form of tech. And there it is. So I was waiting for a Hydrogen, a Spire, or an Infestation Pit. We have the answer. The pit is on the way. So we go straight for the Infestation Pit instead. Interesting. Now, when it comes to Swarm Host play in this matchup, it is viable, especially against Charge Archon-based compositions. As we can see, it's going to be triple Oracle into Blink Stalkers instead, and not into Charge. Oh, but do you see what I see? I see a Nidus Swarm on the way. It looks like we may indeed be going into Swarm Host. Fair enough. Zoun pulling back home. Securing himself on 3 bases. Taking up in towards his Temple Archives, in towards Storm, not Colossus. Invitation is done, and there it is. Swarm Hosts are on the way. Now, on this map specifically, there are a lot of positions that you can abuse. They can use these kind of terrain, the cliff faces, and try to wreak havoc here on the natural and at the third. Because the map is so large, it is more difficult to punish a player going Swarm Host. It's the same kind of rationale why you would go into Mutas, for example. Just 2 different ways to be aggressive across the map. Stalkers are poking in, and Darky has the bare minimum to defend. Baits out the stasis. Oh. So the army takes out one of the Oracles. Nice pick-off, nice snipe. Nidus is on the way. Ooh, and can Zoun punish this? The Queens are going down. Dark is being broken. Swarm Hosts are across the map. They're about to get damaged up. What about here back at home defensively? Does Dark have enough? He'll lose every single Queen. Queens are going down. Lings, they push forward. Locust Wave into the mineral line. He's going for the base. Going for the Nexus. And Dark, he barely defends back at home. Meanwhile, the natural goes down. Does pick off the expansion. Dark, he lost how much? He lost 5 Queens back at home. But Zoun, he's running out of steam. He's running out of Stalkers. Yes, he was able to kill Queens. That is true. But he did not get the expansion. And he did not touch the economy. That's what's important here. Dark, he did defend, and now it's time to counterattack. Takes down the natural, now pushing in towards the third. Here comes the Nidus, here comes the next Locust Wave. And Zoun, he's having a hard time keeping up. Again, he played out so many Stalkers, the Roaches are here to defend. They protect the Swarm Host. Locust Wave into the base. GG gets called, too much momentum, and Dark, he will snowball out of control, taking game number 1. Whew, GG. Dark, he does take a lead. Again, Zoun, his opportunity in this game, his moment, was when he pushed with the Stalkers. When he was killing those Queens, and if he was able to break through the Queens and get on top of the base, maybe a different story, but he failed to do so. I should say, Dark, he barely had enough to defend. He barely trickled in with those Lings, with those Roaches. He barely defended, and that means that his Swarm Host got out of hand. They got out of hand, got out of control. They wreaked havoc across the map, sniping base after base. GG. GG, well played. Again, very risky move there by Dark, but did get away with it in the end. As you mentioned, it's similar to the rationale as to the rationale why you would go into Muta play, for example. Just because the map is so large, it takes so long for the Protoss to counterattack, so you have more time to build up and more time to defend. Do you have more time? GG, well played. But that was merely only game 1. That was only game 1. Now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Getting into game 2. And of course, this is a best of 7, so we got plenty of games ahead of us, plenty more games to come. Now, I don't expect Dark to go into Swarm Host on smaller maps. I'm referring to Whispers of Gold, Ley Lines, Ultra Love as well. These smaller maps, it is more risky to go into Swarm Host play, so I would say that it's kind of more exclusive to those larger maps. Speaking of larger maps, we have another one. We have another one here. We're going to be loading into Amygdala for game 2. Here we go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Amygdala, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back and tie things up. It is Zoun. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, leading the series 1-0. It is Dark. Here we go. As we are setting up and settling in. And welcome one and all to Amygdala. Amygdala is one of the larger maps in the map pool, likewise very defendable as well on 2, 3, and 4 bases. One of the big reasons why it can be difficult to be aggressive on this map is because of the limited attack paths. As you can see, we have one attack path here towards the top side and one towards the bottom side as well. Both covered by the Zelnaga towers, both easy to scout and easy to get vision on, to get eyes on any kind of move out across the map, and that's all you really have. It's kind of difficult to rotate between the bases, rotate between the northern base and the southern base, and try to be active and aggressive without committing to like a 3-base all-in. And a big reason for this is all the rocks. Like these rocks, they limit the mobility, they limit the attack paths early on. As the game progresses, rocks get knocked down and the map does open up. That's in the longer, later game. So as a result, we do often see longer games on Amygdala. Of course, there are other aspects of the map as well. There are the gold bases, for example, and also because it's so large, you can try to get away with something like Swarmhost play or Mutaplay. I don't expect Swarmhost again 2 games in a row. I do think it's a nice thing to mix into a series, 100%, but it's never something that you want to rely upon. Of course, that's when you get into mind games, right? And you're like, there's no way that my opponent plays Swarmhost 2 games in a row. And so you play greedy and you get caught off guard and then bam, like you lose bases again. It can happen, true. Dark, he's the kind of player to do that, so yeah, true. he is an animal. He is an animal. Not wrong. We'll see. For now, Stargate. Stargate open out of Zoun. Opening up standard. So far, so good. As Dark, he does find the probe. Will zone it away. Dark can now expand. Now, as a reminder, last game, Dark, he did open up into a 4:30 lair timing, so he went lair first at 4:30. He took all 6 gases, and that led into his further tech. Again, he had 3 options, and his option and his choice was to go into the infestation bit into Swarmhost. So we'll keep an eye on Dark here this time to see if he does open in a similar fashion, or if he does play more standard and get into early Evo chambers, as the Overlord is misplaced, unfortunately. Yeah, barely, not quite on center. Does go down. Nice big off. Overlord does fall. That does supply look Dark. Dark, he was otherwise busy defending this mineral line. Was caught off guard. Oracle's on the way. Going for his second gateway. As he does move out. And we saw that the initial oracles were a little bit lackluster. There was a nice stasis at one point in the early game. But we'll see if Zoun can get more damage done. So he does move out. Meanwhile, early Roach Warren out of Dark. Okay, so already mixing it up. Just emphasize once again as the Oracle does get into the main base. Getting 1, getting 2 drone kills, getting 3. Nicely done. Gets 3 drones. Does pull away. But as a reminder, last game we had a 4-minute 30 lair timing first out of all tech structures. Here we have a 3:30 Roach Warren instead, so very early Roach Warren, and this can lead into an early Roach move out. Again, there was no indication to be overly safe and get an early Roach Warren here defensively. Here comes Zoun's initial move out. Expanding behind this, going for a bit of an earlier Twilight Council. I don't see a Forge. This could be a Glaive follow-up. We have options. Zoun can go into Glaives or early Blink. What's it going to be? Regardless, it's going to be very aggressive. Again, there is no Forge, no upgrades, no +1. Let's say Threat in the Shade. It looks like Dark, he was just being safe. He's droning. He's droning up at later lair as a result. It's going to be early Blink. And we'll see if Zoun does go into an 8-gate setup. Now, what's going on here? Speaking of gateways, yeah, we have a gateway explosion. There is no Forge. And what does that mean? That means there's no longevity here. There's no longevity with the army, where there's no +1 or +2 timing available here. Massive gateway explosion, getting up to 6 gates already. And Zoun, if he doesn't take his gases, if he moves out for a proxy gateway across the map, this looks like the beginning of an 8-gate 3-base all-in. I say 8 gates, technically you can go up even further than that, but instead, he's going to go for a later forge. Okay. So later forge, later upgrades, but he will have an early timing here with all these stalkers, and he has to be active with them. So he's going to move out. He will soon move out, and with these stalkers, he can try to trade, pick up some roaches, ideally delay the 4th base. As Dark is droning. Likewise, currently Blink is halfway done. When it gets close to finishing, Zoun can move out. Hopefully he does maintain these oracles. But again, Zoun, he's not going for an all-in. He has the forge, he has now a robo on the way as well. He will soon take gases, now taking up. Oh. Zoun, he is moving out. Spotted by the Lings. Dark likewise taking up as well, going into +1 range, going into Roach Hydra into a fast infestation pit. The fast pit tells us that this might be for fast hive and into fast lurker tech. Okay. You have our attention. Here comes move out. Blink just finished, and now it's time to punish the 4th. Speaking of, the 4th base is in position, and we'll see if we can focus it down. But now trading with the roaches. Gets 1, gets 2. Some decent pickups, but we'll lose 1 stalker. Nice stasis. Stasis goes off. Zoun maintains himself. Gets another roach. Another stasis pops off once again. Zoun trading very nicely here. Very nicely. Oh, but he's skipping warpins. Like, the reality is here that Zoun, he's skipping warpins. To do so, he's taking up. 2nd robo's on the way. Bay's on the way as well into double Colossus production. So Zoun, I do think he could have been more successful here, but he wasn't reinforcing. So he backs off, he retreats, and Dark, he preserves the expansion. That's what matters here. And as we did mention earlier with the infestation bit, it is for the lurkers. So Hive Tech into Hive Tech lurkers, into those upgrades. Dark is taking up towards the late game. And I'm concerned for Zoun. As a reminder, Zoun, his upgrades are late. His tech is late as well. Like, everything was delayed in favor of that early stalker timing, and he really just picked up some roaches. He got 4 roach kills, which is okay, but nothing major. Ideally, he needs to achieve more with these stalkers. As lurkers, they're almost here. The lunkers are coming. Zoun, he's making 2 Colossus at a time. He's building up his Colossus counts. And here we go, we have 8 lurkers on the way. If Zoun wanted to hit a timing, it's too late for that. Lurkers have arrived, and with those lurkers, Dark, he should be able to defend. Dark is on 3.5 bases, getting the gold expansion. So even though Dark, he doesn't have 80 workers, I mean, he may as well have. So let's have that boosted economy. Lurkers have arrived. Army gets spotted. Zoun, he's out of position, and Dark is going straight for the, he's going straight for the dash. Oh, massive stasis! Oh my god, the stasis! Stasis does pop up, does slow him down, and Zoun, he does not turn around. He can always recall. He can always recall, but that was the best stasis that Zoun could have hoped for. That will heavily slow down Dark, and we're going for the base trade. Dark pushing into the natural, but it's a delayed push. Zoun, he knocks down the gold. And the gold will fall. Dark moving in, at least trying to. Does hit the 3rd base. Zoun pushing into the natural. Snipes the queen. Can try and deny +2. As lurkers are pushing forward. Disruptors have arrived. Okay, +2 is denied. Massive pickup. Disruptors are backing up in the main. Catching out more lurkers. Dark, he's running out of steam. And Zoun, he's overwhelming. He takes down the natural, takes down the roach ward as well. Dark, he does get into the mineral line though. Takes down all the probes. 4th base is going down, 3rd base as well. Dark is still pushing in. He can still pull this off. Oh! Novas are connecting. Novas connect. Zoun going for the kill, going for the main. Catching out all the tech, all the production. There are a couple of lurkers left over. And the disruptors, they're recharging. They're getting another shot off. At least they should. Oh! Novas, they pop off. Oh, they miss! The Novas do miss. They don't quite connect. Main base is going down. But at the same time, Zoun, he's losing everything else across the map here. Zoun, he has 31 workers, but I believe they're all here in the main. Oh, let's go for the Nova. Catches a couple of roaches. Boys are being pulled. The Nova goes off. Nice connection, takes out 2 lurkers. Massive connections. Yeah, there's 1 lurker left. Dark, he does have an economy, but he can make nothing. What he does have, though, is 8 lurkers back at him to defend. But there is detection. Flash transfuse. Queen gets caught out. Stalkers, they dive in. Not the best dive here, but it's going to be enough. GG gets caught. Zoun, he overwhelms the defenses, and Zoun, he fights back, putting a point on the board. Whew, GG. GG, well played. Zoun, he does come out on top of the base trade. Again, imagine this base trade if Dark didn't take that massive stasis to the face. That slowed down the lurkers, and it slowed down Dark's base trade so heavily there, getting, what, 4 or 5 lurkers caught. Zoun, he had extra time to reinforce, to rebuild, and to move out. GG. GG, well played. Very close, very intense. In the end, Zoun did take it. Again, Zoun, he could still always recall back home. He always had that option. And didn't feel the need to. Here we go. Getting into game number 3. Game number 3 is going to be here on Whispers of Gold, a much smaller map, the smallest map in the ladder map pool. And because that aggression is favored, we have seen some assertive starts. I'll be honest, once again, I wasn't really too fond of the early Blink build here by Zoun. He didn't quite achieve too much with it, and Dark did get away with the lurkers. It led into the base trade, which was maybe the best chance for Zoun. Did go well for him. But we'll see how aggressive our players are here on Whispers. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss. Oh, tying up the series 1-1, it is Zoun. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, being forced into a tight series. We'll see if he can bring it back. It is Dark. Here we go. So we are now jumping into game number 3. Now getting into game 3 here, and we'll see how aggressive our players do plan on being so far. Just going to be opening up standard openers, hatch gas pull out of Dark, likewise gate expand out of Zoun. Here we go. So far, we are going to be settling in. And again, Whispers of Gold does favor aggression. Just going into the map itself here, we do have some exposed third bases. We have the linear third, we have the triangular third base as well. What I mean by exposed is they have no narrow ramps coming into them. We do have the same plane of elevation here on the left-hand side as the third base. Likewise, we have a very wide ramp here at the triangular third, but also destructible rocks into another pathway into this expansion as well. So in general, it goes both ways, but the third bases are more exposed than on other maps. And because of that, we see a lot of 2-base and 3-base play on Whispers of Gold. A lot of all-ins, a lot of aggression. It's what we expect to see, and we'll see where this goes, or where this takes us. So we are setting up, once again, Stargate opener here by Zoun. And we'll see who flinches first. Dark, he does dip in. Something we haven't seen yet, but Dark is quite known for is like Link Queen Nidus play or Link Queen Nidus all-ins, German taxis, Roach Queen walks across the map. Of course, we have been jumping into much larger maps, so Dark really hasn't had the opportunity for that, but coming into Whispers of Gold, suddenly it's on the table. It's on the table here. As we do open Stalker, sorry, Adept Stalker. To open Adept Stalker. Zoun moving out across the map. Likewise, no early attack, no early aggression, just droning for the time being. And it is that Oracle first. We haven't seen any Void Rays yet out of Zoun, just straight up Oracle openers every game so far. Standard starts. Overlord is being hunted down. Just like the last game, Zoun, he will have the potential to go for an earlier Twilight Council if he wants to, and delayed Forges. Now just denying vision. Keeping Dark away. Going for the linear third base. Likewise, Dark, he does expand towards his opponent. Going for the forward third instead. Okay, I see you. Building up his forward third. Meanwhile, that's going to be an early Twilight Council here by Zoun. So this looks like a similar build to last game. If you remember, last game we were talking about how I was trying to emphasize the early Twilight Council, the early blink timing, and the early aggression of Zoun. And Zoun, he deviated away from that. If you recall, he did go into early blink, that is true. But he didn't really commit. He like sidestepped, got into double Colossus production instead. 5 drones would go down. Here, if this was any other player, I would assume Glaive Adepts. But Zoun, he did go for early blink last game, so it could be early blink again. What's it going to be? Blink or Glaive's confirmation? Blink again. So this is the same opener that we saw last game out of Zoun. Early blink. But I expect it to be a more aggressive and more committed this time. As a reminder, he has no forge, he has no upgrades. That's forced to recall. Dark does open Lair first. Lair at the third. Interesting location. But does go Lair first. Plus on range on the way. So far, this does look like the same build that we saw, I believe it was game 1 from Dark. So Lair first into Evo Chamber plus on range. Into a fast Hydra Den. Okay, Dark, he's cutting corners. Dark, he does skip his Roach Warren. Bold move. Bold move here by Dark. So far, this does look like a build that... actually, I was going to say a build that Soul is quite fond of. Soul, he's very fond of going for 3-base Hydra all-ins, where he does fixate on just purely Hydra upgrades. But I believe whenever Solar does it, he doesn't get the Evo Chamber. I think that's the one difference here. So usually Solar, he does go for a 0-0 Hydra all-in. Meanwhile, do you see what I see? If you recall, I was trying to call 8 gates 3-base all-in in the last game from Zoun. That's what we're seeing here. We're setting up the proxy. Zoun, he's committing. It's all or nothing. Just Mass Blink Stalker. 0 Forge, 0 upgrades, no delayed Forge or anything like that. Just Mass Blink Stalker. So either Zoun, he kills Dark, or he dies trying. And Dark did skip Roaches. Uh-oh. Did skip Roaches. Stalker's Apex forward. Likewise, he's going to be 0-0 Lings as well. Lings, they try to poke in. Behind this, that is the 8th gateway, so again, it is 3-base 8 gate all in. Lings, they go across the map instead, trying to catch reinforcements. Stalkers, they trade against the Hydras. Expensive losses here for Dark. Hydras are going down. Stasis gets baited out. Queen's not going to be falling. Zoun does blink well. Lings, they come in from behind. They attempt us around. They attempt it. So far, Zoun, he does punish. He's not stopping, not slowing down. Still pushing in. We're running out of Lings. The Hydras are exposed. And these are expensive losses here for Dark. As Hydras are now going down. And Zoun, he's breaking through. He's breaking through. He has the greater concave. Hydra's going to be falling. He does trade out little Stalkers though. Oh my god. Yeah, the Blinks are not there. Leaves out a lot of Stalkers. That was how many of those? 14 Stalkers going down for 8 Hydras. Ay, ay, ay. And Dark is holding. Dark is holding on. He starts steps forward. He shuts down the Stalkers. Again, Zoun, like he was looking good, and then suddenly he just lost a full line of Stalkers. He lost everything. And Zoun, remember, he has nothing left. He has nothing behind this. He has no gases, no upgrades, no tech. He's completely all in, and the longer this goes on, the better it is for Dark. Starkey baits out the stasis. Once again, he maintains the ramp. Darkey's holding on. Still rallying in more Lings, more Hydras. Oh! Stasis doesn't connect. Doesn't quite connect here. And you see Zoun even warping in Zealots. Getting desperate. Stasis goes off, Stalkers, more of them do go down. And there's no rush for Dark. Dark, he doesn't have to chase this down. He's trading well, picks off an Oracle. Very nice pick up. And GG gets called against Zoun. He's run out of steam. He was all in, the all in fails, and Dark, he will take a lead in the series 2-1. Whew, GG. GG, well played again. A very intense game state there. We did expect an all-in on Whispers of Gold. Weren't quite sure which player would commit, but it was Zoun. Zoun, he did go for just Mass Blink Stalker, and early on he did well. He did quite well shaking down or shutting down all those Lings, getting on top of the Hydras, but he barely wasn't able to break through that defensive line. Again, Dark, he was able to hold on. He held on to that ramp, of course, had the greater concave, and did break through. GG. GG, well played. With that, Dark takes a lead, and now we're jumping into game number 4, gonna be loading into Abyssal Reef. Now we go from one of the smaller maps into one of the larger maps. Abyssal Reef, the second largest map in the map pool, second largest, only second to Neo Valley Square. Known for longer macro games. And we'll see if we get there. Here we go, as spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Abyssal Reef, we do have the South Green Protoss player. The blue Protoss. Now falling in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back and tie things up. It is Zoun. There we go. And spawning in the top left hand corner, I was trying to find the hotkey. In the top left hand corner, we have the South Green Zerg player. We have the red Zerg leading the series 2-1. It is Dark. Let's go again. It's been a very intense night of StarCraft already here. Again, Dark versus GuMiho was insane. Still the highlight of the broadcast tonight was seeing Dark and GuMiho go at it. It was beautiful. And now here, we'll see if we can meet that between Dark and Zoun as we load into Abyssal Reef. Now, one of the reasons why we do see a lot of longer games on this map is not just the rush distance by ground, but also the terrain itself. As you can see, we have a very narrow ramp coming into the natural, very easy to wall off and defend. Likewise, because of that, you can focus your defenses here at the third base instead, so it's a much more defendable location. There is a very kind of hidden alleyway coming in towards the third base on the left hand side. To push in from the right, you have to knock down these rocks or go up these ramps and snake around. It's just very awkward to be aggressive here at the third, so it's much more easier to defend and to maintain yourself on not just 3 bases, but a 4th and a 5th base as well. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th base are all very centralized here on Abyssal Reef. They're all next to each other, so it is easier to rotate between them and defend between them as well. So because of that, because your 5 base setup is a little more secure, we often see 5 base play on Abyssal Reef. Again, the 6th base is more difficult. Whether it's this southern 6th base or the northern 6th base, it's a lot more isolated, a lot more exposed, and that's where players can have a harder time defending and expanding. But that's in the late game. Like, that's in like, yeah, if you're having a hard time getting a 6th base, I mean, again, it's easier to get up to that point. So as a result, we see a lot of Sky Toss. We see a lot of Sky Toss here on Abyssal Reef. You can just turtle up and wall off and get into Sky Toss. Likewise, we can see Swarm Host play again from Dark. True. We saw that on King's Cove. Muta play also quite popular as well. And we'll see what Dark goes for. For now, Stargate. Stargate opener out of Zoun. Once again. Our eyes are on Dark. Now again, Dark's approach on King's Cove was an interesting approach, and I expect him to do the same here on Abyssal. King's Cove and Abyssal Reef have a lot of similarities when it comes to those defensive features, and Dark's answer to that was Swarm Host. Not saying he'll do it again, but Again, the idea was that Dark, he didn't want to go into a longer game. Not on King's Cove, and I would imagine not on Abyssal Reef either. Meanwhile, going to be a Void Ray opener out of Zoun, not an Oracle. So for the first time this series, opens Void Ray, hunting down the Overlord, and this is a little bit suspect. Now, the purpose, the goal, the advantage of something like a Void Ray opener here is that you keep your opponents in the dark. You hunt down the scouting Overlord, and Dark will not know what you're doing next. This could lead into a second Stargate, into Skytoss, could lead into a Forge, a Twilight Council, into a third base, into a standard game. It could lead into a Twilight Council, into Glaive of Depths. There's a lot of possibilities here for Zoun, and Dark, he won't know, not yet. It's going to be more difficult for Dark to get a read on what's going on, as he has to pull back all the Overlords. So Dark will have very limited vision here as he pulls back every single Overlord. He turtles up back home. And Zoun does take his third, but we're waiting for the tech. We're waiting for a Stargate, a Twilight Council, a Forge, even a Robo. So far, there it is. We do have a Twilight Council follow-up, Twilight Council into Forge. So that is going to be a standard follow-up here out of Zoun. Nothing cheeky, nothing crazy. Playing standard into +1 and Blink. Meanwhile, Dark going for a 4:30 lair timing. Lair first before the Roach Warren. And so far, this does mimic the style that he was playing on King's Cove. We'll see if he takes his gases. Our eyes are on Dark's gases. So far, getting up to 3. Likewise, he does fully wall off. Ooh, meanwhile, my apologies. If you recall, I did mention +1 and Blink, but that is not Blink. That is Charge on the way instead. Zoun is being more aggressive. And now we see why he did open Void Ray. So this is going to be an earlier charge timing at a Zoun. It's going to be on Dark to figure out what's going on. Nice around. Does around. Shield Battery will keep this Adept alive. You have a second Warp in. Ooh, and the Adept is barely not going to survive. Things they poke in front of the Scouts, and really what Dark would be looking for here is Zealots. If Zealots warp in defensively back at home, or if they warp in to build up, if Dark can get a glimpse of them, then he knows. Meanwhile, gases. 6 gases back at home. Remember, we saw this same setup on King's Cove. On King's Cove, it was 6 gas into Swarm Host. Here, 6 gas into Muta. So Mutas are on the way for Dark. So far, Zoun does not scout. He will embrace Mutas. Meanwhile, Dark, he still has to be very active with these links. He still has to figure out what's going on. Now, Dark, he has access to Roaches. If Dark doesn't make enough Roaches, if he cuts corners, and if he banks up into Muta play, then he will be vulnerable to the charge lots. He will be vulnerable. Lings, he knows. He sees, he knows. Zealots are a big tell. There's no reason for Zealots to be here unless you're going for charge, and instantly 11 Roaches on the way. Dark, he's aware. He sees everything he needs to, and Dark is getting ready. Charge now complete. And Zoun is moving out. It's being active. We have Storm on the way. Zoun so far, just warping in Archons, setting up. Dark is getting ready. And so far the Spire is unscouted. Ideally, Dark, he wants to be proactive and engage ahead of time. And Zoun, he doesn't reinforce with more Zealots. It looks like because he got scouted, he skipped warp-ins. He's staying back home. Dark, he's knocking down that front door. Likewise, I appreciate that Dark, he's only making 7 Mutas. That is more than enough to one-shot probes. So 7 Mutas to harass, and then bam, into Hydras. So switching into Hydra Lurker. Dark, he pokes in, he distracts Zoun. Ooh, we'll take some massive storms to the face. Storms, they pop off. Dark has to respect this, but here come the Mutas into the natural, and again, no scouting, nothing's ready for this. Probe's gonna be going down, no cannons, no shield barriers, no nothing to defend. And remember, Stalkers, they don't have Blink. Yeah, Stalkers warping, but there is no Blink. There's no Blink available here. Cannot keep up. Probe's gonna be going down, and Zoun, he's committing. Breaks down the Roaches. 12 probe kills so far. Mutas, they head into the natural, they head into the third. 14 probe kills. Getting up to 15, getting up to 16. Ooh. Does take a storm to the face, but Zoun, he's stuck at home, stuck defending. And remember, it was only 7 Mutas. Dark, he's done with Mutas at this point. He's going into Lurker Tech. He's switching into lurkers. Getting up to 24 probes. Ay. This is just far too much. 26, 27. Can we get 30? Up. Can we get there? 29. 30. Just barely towards the end. The 30 probes go down. Insane damage. Almost 2 full mineral lines do fall here. And Dark back at home. He's just massing up Hydras and getting ready for lurker tech. And Zoun is still stuck at home. He has no pushing power. He has no economy. Dark, he's on 82 workers. Taking his gases, getting a 5th expansion. Looking to max out. Hive is on the way as well. And again, Zoun, he just had no idea what was going on. Likewise, his own Zealot time was scouted. Dark, he was ready for it. And now we have a fleet beacon on the way. I mean, Zoun, he has 2 options. He can either turtle, he can just turtle up and try to max out again to Sky Toss and be hyper defensive, or he can go for an all-in. Like, one or the other. As we can see, he's being defensive. He's trying to turtle up, throwing down stasis traps, making probes. Dark is moving in. Oh. Stasis doesn't quite connect. Doesn't quite connect here. Pulling away. Hive is almost done, getting to those upgrades. Nidus Swarm is on the way. And the Lunkers are here. And again, Dark, he's just one step ahead. Zoun, I mean, he has to make something happen with his army. He does have 4 High Templar, but they're back at home, so no aggressive storms available. No storms on the front lines. Just clearing up creep. Dark is now maxed out. And Dark, he should soon be pushing. Right now, his ideal is to trade. He wants to trade out an army. Trade with Zoun. Doesn't want to let him stabilize. As Dark, he's up 40 supply. There are some storms defensively. Nidus Swarm on the way to reinforce. Nidus is denied. Dark is forcing his way in. Pushing up the ramp. Yeah, the lurkers, they do zone away the army. Forced to recall. Storm is out on the high ground. And Dark, where does he go from here? Still moving in. Oh my god, jeez. Lurker range is crazy. Covering the ramp. Yeah, pokes forward. He wants a Cybercore at least. Cybercore is going to fall. Roaches, they rotate over towards the 4th base. Picking up an Archon, getting to the mineral line. And Zoun is just being torn apart here. Oof. Leading out High Templars, Stalkers. We have Tempest on the way, but the Tempests are late. And Roaches, they make their way into the mineral lines. Probes aren't going to be falling. Lurker's still just covering this ramp. Hydras, they lunge in. They're going for the High Templar. He gets 1, he gets 2. Takes out both High Templar. Dark, he pulls away. He pulls away. Going for the expansion. Oh, can he get it? Oh, can he get the Nexus? Ah, barely not. A little bit greedy. Barely does not get it. Zoun does hold. Zoun, he holds, he defends. He's up to 2, soon to be 4 Tempest. Likewise, Dark across the map. Getting into lurkers. Building up his Hydra lurker army. The Tempest count isn't too high. So Hydras, they can hold their own. Of course, +1 air attack is on the way. We had the Mutas earlier, so the Spire is coming to play. Spire is a factor. I'm catching out some of the lurkers. No detection. Only gets 1 lurker. Dark going for a counterattack. And again, just pulling Zoun apart. Dark just rushing on forward, going for the expansion. Lings, they bust into the mineral line. Likewise, Dark, he's now on top of the expansion, on top of the Nexus. Nexus goes down. And Zoun's just getting pulled apart. Yeah, losing base after base, natural, and the 4th base as well. Said and the there we go. Does bring it down. Zoun, he's down to 2 bases. Just the main and the third. That's all he has left. And he has to push. It's all or nothing here for Zoun. He's on 6 Tempest. Attempts to Zealot run by. But now there are Corruptors to defend. Yeah, oh my god. Potentially overmade Corruptors. That's going to be 18 Corruptors. Soon to be 25. 25 Corruptors. Ay, ay, ay. He commits in. Takes down the mothership. GG gets called. There's nothing left. And Dark, he will extend his lead 3-1. And is now 1 game away from claiming the series. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, this all came down to the initial openers. There's a lot that came into play here. On the one hand, it was Dark rushing into the Spire. As a reminder, he went for a 4:30 lair timing into 6 gases into Spire play. But it isn't just that Dark went into Spire, into mutas. Remember, what did Zoun do? Zoun, he opened Void Ray into Nobbling Stalker into Charge Lots. And because of that, that meant that he had even less to defend, because it wasn't just that he got caught with his pants down without any cannons and shield batteries. He got caught almost blind countered, because remember, he had no blink for his Stalkers, he had vanilla Stalkers, he had charge instead for his Zealots. And Zealots, they don't really help in that defense. Stalkers, they couldn't keep up. Otherwise, if he had gone for a standard opener, he would have at least had those Stalkers. He would have had at least Stalkers to defend, to rotate between the bases, to keep up with the mutas. Here, it was worst case scenario for Zoun because of his charge build. And with that, he was torn apart. Of course, unfortunately, he was unable to scout what was going on. If he had scouted, of course, then he could have tried to switch into Blink and, of course, get side defense as well. But Zoun, he was caught with his pants down, and we'll see if he can bounce back because the pressure is on. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the blue Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss himself from South Korea down in the series. He has to fight back here and now to extend this series and to bring us to another game and to potentially the ace match. It is Zoun. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, leading the series 3-1, 1 game away from becoming our Chicken King champion. It is Dark. Does he have the biggest chicken, Pappy? Ay, ay, ay. Let's go. For now, Hatchcast Pool, standard open out of Dark, likewise get expand out of Zoun, and welcome one and all to Ultra Love. Ultra Love, of course, being one of the smaller maps of the map pool. Not as small as Whispers of Gold. I would say it is a more defendable map than Whispers, but I mean, you don't get more extreme than Whispers of Gold. True. You have your third base, you have your fourth base. The rush distance by ground is short, but at the same time, you also have some defensive features here. You can knock down this tower, so you can knock down the tower. You can fully wall off this area. Likewise as well, there's a more narrow location here towards the left-hand side. There are these very narrow bridges as well that you can wall off and you can engage on. So there are certain features here. You have the high ground as well. There are certain features that allow you to be a little bit more defensive than Whispers of Gold and to slow down a push and slow down an all-in. But of course, scouting is going to be paramount. So getting eyes on any kind of aggressive build. When ordering chicken, he goes for the dark meat. Oh, no. What does that mean? He only goes for the skin. Ah. Hello, Crank in chat. Ah. The Crank is not here. Aye, aye, aye. For those that are curious, I guess we have some downtime here. You know, again, standard opener, Stargate play out of Zoun, likewise Hatchcats pull out of Dark. I know some people may be tuning in for the first time. If you're familiar with Crank, with J1 Joy, Crank, of course, our channel name is actually a tribute to Crank, as that's where we started. Crank, he's a Korean Protoss player, or at least he used to be a Korean Protoss back in the day, and he used to be very active streaming back in 2014. Back in 2014, he used to stream. If you remember, he also used to stream on the Nvidia channel. He was like partnered with Nvidia. He was on Axiom. And of course, he was streaming on his personal channel as well in English, of course, in English. And of course, over time, he became a full-time streamer. He was initially a player, then into a streamer. He used to stream in English, and that's where the CranKy Ducklings were born. He used to have a little mascot. He used to have a little mascot, a little plushie that a fan sent to him. It was a little duck. It was a duck. And eventually, over time, you know, things occurred. Okay, of course, when it came to Total Biscuit, of course, when it came to Axiom disbanding as well, closing, I should say. CranKy eventually made the decision to switch to becoming a full-time Korean streamer. He used to stream purely in English, of course, but did switch to a Korean streamer, and I would say quite successfully so. Nowadays, he's the biggest caster in Korea. I would say the biggest streamer in the SE2 scene when it comes to the Korean scene. He's like, I guess, the equivalent of like a Wardy or a Loco or a Winter or what have you for the Koreans. So very successful, but we kind of were the offshoot of his fan base, and we kind of went, you know, we were like, well, what do we do? But we, of course, we support Crank. We support Crank in his endeavors, but we wanted to do something for the scene, for the community as well, and that was back in 2016, 2017. That's when we formed the CranKy Ducklings, the CranKy Ducklings. CranKy in tribute of Crank, and the Duckling because the Duckling mascot was the mascot of Crank as well. That's where we came from. For now, though, Darky's link footing. Darky's not droning, by the way. He's not droning up his third base. We have Mass Link on the way. It's going to be a Link Queen all in as he sends everything across the map just at the end of the story. We commit. We did mention earlier that the rush distance by ground is quite short on this map, so all-ins are going to be favored. There are some ways to defend, that is true, but Zoun, he's not ready for that. Zoun, he's pinned back at home. Lings, they do hit the natural, trying to fully wall off. The third base is exposed, and the third base is going to be the target here. Now just forcing a wall. Darky rotates over towards that third base. There are 4 depths to defend. 4 depths in the shield battery. Oracles, they move in. Queens have arrived. No transfuse. No creep. And the first queen is going to go down. That shield battery putting in a lot of work, but the shield battery is out of energy. I mean, the positioning here is solid. Lings, they're not breaking through. So far, so good. Zoun, he's holding. Zoun, he's holding on. But Lings, they do supply. They get us around. They get 1 Zealots. They get 1. They get 2. And looks like the base is going to fall. Yeah, the Oracles, they're out of energy. The third base has fallen, and Darky's droning. Darky is now droning up back at home. He's now got a lair on the way. He will kill the expansion. Can Dark get more than that? I'm less certain of that, at least. Will kill the third. Likewise, Zoun moving out, at least attempting to. Should be safe and sound here at the ramp. And Zoun defends. Zoun, he defends, he does hold. Now, on the one hand, yes, Zoun, he did lose an expansion, but looking at the units lost tab, he didn't really lose much else. I mean, look at the units lost here, the efficiency. Zoun, he lost 1 probe. He lost 1 probe, he lost 1 stalker, he lost 2 adepts, 2 zealots, a very nice defense. The queens are going down, and I would say Zoun is in a better position here. Dark, he is re-droning, that is true, but he's only just droning up. His droning is late, his saturation is delayed. And here comes the proxy, here comes the committed counterattack out of Zoun. He's turning this suddenly into a 2-base all-in. How many gateways? He has what? Oh, Jesus. He has 6 gates back at home, and a proxy 7th gateway. 1 more gate on the way, so it's going to be a 2-base 8-gate all-in. And Zoun, can he punish Dark? Dark, he has the high ground, clutch transfuse, keeps the queens alive. Lings, they come in from behind, but the Oracles are in position to defend. Nicely done. Oracles, they zone away the Lings. Lings are forced back. Stalkers pushing in. Stasis does go up. The Lings, they're trading well. They collapse on the Stalkers. They pin them back. Once again, the Oracles, they activate. Pulsar beams are activated. Stalkers, they dive in once again. They can one-shot the Queens. And Dark, he's in trouble. He's running out of Lings here. Yeah, there aren't many Lings left. Stasis runs out. But Lings are falling one after the other. And Zoun, he's on overwhelmed. GG gets called. Zoun, he survives the all-in. He counterattacks. And Zoun, he will put a point on the board. GG. GG, well played. Whew. Now getting into game number 6. Again, it was a cheeky build here by Dark, but as we were trying to emphasize, Dark, he did kill the expansion, but he only killed the expansion. He did not get the damage he was looking for when it came to probe damage or army damage either. It was not enough. And with that, we're making our way into Game 6. And Zoun, he's one game away here from forcing the ace match to bring us here all the way to Game 7. One more game is all he needs. Let's go. Here we go. Getting to our next game. It's going to be on El Dorado. El Dorado is going to be an interesting one depending on how we expand. You can expand towards each other and make the map even smaller and reduce the time it takes to get across the map, or we can expand away from each other instead and end up in a longer game state. Where are we headed? As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of El Dorado, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss. Fighting back and putting a point on the board. Can he force the ace match? It is Zoun. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Zerg player, or the red Zerg player himself, leading the series 3-2. One more game away from becoming our Chicken King champion. It is Dark. Here we go. As Zoun does come in for the pro block, for the pylon, to force the unnatural natural out of Dark. I believe for the first time this series, actually. Not something that's been really going for. Not something that he has been embracing. But yeah, that's why it's always really fun whenever we cast an event with CranKy. Not together in the same channel, but covering the same event. For example, whether it's like an IM Katowice, or whether it's an ESL, whether it's Home Story Cup. Or Alima League, true. Alima League as well. Oh, as Dark, he is forced to delay his expansion. He goes instead for the hatch block. Let's go. The hatchery has been thrown down. Now, the goal here is just to delay the expansion. This is not an all-in. This is not aggressive out of Dark. It does force out another gateway and a delay on the Nexus. So Dark, he will delay the expansion behind this. So it's going to be a hatch, gas pool. Very greedy setup here from Dark. Zoun will eventually expand, but again, he has to pull extra boys, he has to make a zealot. Now, something important about this build and about this start is that Dark, he is forcing out these units. He's forcing out not just one zealot, he's going to force out a second zealot, he forces out a second gateway, and he will force out an extra pair of adepts. So after this is dealt with, Dark, he has to reap what he sowed. He has to deal with the counterattack that will eventually arrive. So it will force Dark to make extra lings early on. As there's a cancellation. Zoun can now expand, and here come those two adepts. And the counterattack is coming. Dark back at home, still droning, saturating, getting up to 2 bases. Two bases, moving out across the map. Likewise does expand back at home, and Dark back at home is forced to make these extra 10 lings. 10 lings on the way, queens are on the way as well. Third base is going to be delayed, so nice pick off here from Zoun. And then he can threaten the mineral line. And he shouldn't really get too much damage here, but forcing all these lings is damage enough. As Dark is contained, force to morph in that gas geyser. And hopefully he doesn't let it finish. There we go. Does cancel. Does cancel in time. Zoun, he's going to hunt down that drone. Oh, does get it. Nice pickoff. And Dark, he's contained. He's contained. His third base is heavily delayed. Zoun's going for the Stargate. Zealots, once again, they get in position. Dark, he has not mined through those patches. And Dark finally does expand. So a bit of a give and take. On the one hand, Zoun, his natural is late. True, the natural is late. At the same time, Dark's third base, also late. So a bit of a give and take. Zoun, he recalls back home, he preserves all of his units. Meanwhile, very early Twilight Council out of Zoun before any kind of third base. Now, every game so far that we've seen Zoun go for an early Twilight Council, it's been Blink, right? It's been Blink, at times Blink into a 3-base all-in, at other times Blink into a macro game. Here, I'm feeling Glaives. This is so early and there's still no expansion. Do we finally open Glaive Adepts, or is this Blink once again? What's it gonna be? Twilight Council is done. Gathering up gas for the upgrade. Zoun, he still needs more gas. Overlord Scout is denied, and there it is! Glaive Adepts. Let's go. So it's going to be 2 ace Glaives here from Zoun initially. Now this should not be an all-in, but this is designed to catch Dark with his pants down. So Dark back at home, what's going on? We're at the 5-minute mark, he's been droning, he's taking gases, it's going to be a layer first. If Dark skips his Roach Warren, he's going to be in trouble. Speaking of, he doesn't skip it. He does not skip it. Roach Warren's on the way, Evo Chamber's on the way. If he had gone Ling Hydra, he'd be in a lot of trouble here. But is going Roaches, likewise has some SimCity as well to wall off. Dark, he's pretty well set up here, and he has the tools to defend against the Adepts. Now, he doesn't know that he has to make Roaches, so he has the tech structure, but if he doesn't make Roaches, he'll still be in some trouble. As the third base is down the way, behind this, you can see we're banking up Adepts. We're keeping them hidden here in the main expansion. And Zoun, he will soon reveal himself. He will soon push. Glaive's about to finish. We have how many Adepts so far? We have 10. 10 Adepts take shade across the map. We have 5 safety Roaches on the way for Dark. And he spots this. Yeah, he confirms. Dark, he sees what's going on. Should be getting ready to wall off. Yeah, drone is getting in position. He's ready to wall. So far, good position here from Dark. Army moves out. Shade is coming in, and Dark, he does fully wall. Oh my god. Sort of a bit concerned. Does fully wall off, more Roaches on the way, and Dark, he completely shuts this down. So far, 0 damage. And this needs to get damage done. This is committed. Once again, Dark, he does throw down the Evo Chamber. Shades into the mineral line, into the third. Drones, 2 of them do go down. Does get on top of the Queens. And Roach is having a hard time keeping up. So far, 3 drone kills. Tries to shade past. But it's not good enough here. 5 drone kills. That's okay damage, but Adepts are falling. Oracles, they rotate over. Kept busy by the Queens. And more Roaches breaking out. Roach speed is halfway done. Zoun, he can miss the shade. Not bad. Drones are going to be falling. But I don't think Dark cares. Dark, he's committing. He doesn't care. Sends everything across the map. He's had enough defending. 11 drone kills across the map, getting us to 12. Toll Worker go down. That is good damage here for Zoun. But what about the main army? What about the Adepts? As they cannot fight this head on, we need Immortals. And no Immortals to defend. Roaches, they force their way in. They knock down the Adepts. And the Oracle's out of energy. There we go. There's the energy overcharge. Shield batteries on the way. And it looks like it's barely going to be enough. And Dark is being forced back. Zoun, he holds. And Zoun, he holds on. That means Dark, he lost all those drones earlier. He has to re-drone, has to resaturate. Zoun defends. And Zoun, not in a bad position. Looking good. He's on 3 bases. He's just now saturating. Getting into Immortal production. +1. Blink. Zoun, he holds his own. Whew, okay. We have a back and forth. We can take a moment here. We have a back and forth. That I was not expecting. A Swarm Host on the way once again. Dark is going to Swarm Host. Zoun, he does not see this, does not scout. He misses the United Storm and the Infestation Pit. Ooh, Revelation, he misses. Yeah, he does miss attack. Does miss what he needs to see. He also, he saw his gases, true. He did see the gases, that is a tell. Not enough. Yeah, Zoun is moving out, and here comes that Locust Wave. Dark, he's going for the Nexus, he's going for the main. I'm getting deja vu. We saw this before. It happened on King's Cove. It's happening here on El Dorado. Locust Wave moves in, and the Nexus should go for the mineral. Oh my god, the mineral line, crazy. Crazy DPS, crazy damage. Takes down 14 probes. Won't get the expansion, but very nice damage nonetheless. Ay. And suddenly, any kind of momentum that Zoun had is not there. It's not anymore. Depowers the Forge. Denies +2. Zoun is committed. Moves out across the map. Oh. Does force a defensive Locust Wave. Okay. There's more Red Ravagers building up. Another Locust Wave being sent out. And Dark is holding. Dark, yeah, he holds on. He shuts down the counterattack. And Zoun, he has no economy back at home. He has to commit. Locust Wave moves in. Trades with the Stalkers. And again, Dark, he's just buying time to build up his Roach Ravager. And he has plenty of it. Zoun, he does wing forward. Takes down the Ravagers. Not bad. Ravagers are going down. The Locust, the Swarm Host, dead supply. Or at least it was. Ay. Yeah, Locust, they trade well. Lings, they come into reinforcements. Zoun, he will lose everything. And this is all he had left. The Stalkers, the Immortals, they all fall. And Zoun back at home. He has no economy. GG gets called. Dark, he will claim the series 4-2, becoming the Chicken King Cup, or the Grand Cup #7 champion. GG. El grande pollo, papi. GG, well played. Dark, he will take the series, will take the 4-2. Very intense back and forth. Zoun had his own strong moments, don't get me wrong. We did see Zoun take some maps and make a series out of this, but alas, was unable to force that ace match. Again, this game was very intense. Unfortunately, Zoun, even though he moved in with the Oracles, he did not scout the tech. He got a revelation in the main base, but remember, the Nihilist Swarm and the Infestation bit were at the natural. All the tech was in the natural, and unfortunately, Zoun, he missed it. From missing it, by missing it, he was unable to get ready back at home. He had no idea what was coming his way. GG, well played. Dark does overwhelm, but a shout out to Zoun. Big shout out to Zoun. Again, did have a big back and forth. And it's also really great to see Dark once again, for one of the last times. For those that are unaware, Dark, he is going to the military this month. He has already confirmed that he's going here in April. Because of that, Dark has been very inactive. Dark, he has not been playing in many tournaments. He doesn't play in Open Cups anymore, but he has been playing in these invitationals. This event here was an invitational. Same with the Enki Pro Series. The Enki Pro Series from a couple of weeks ago, which featured Dark versus Clem, and also the other event that we did have, not the Lily Cup, but we had another invitational recently. Oh, right, the Rex March Madness, where we also had Dark invited for another tournament. So Dark has been accepting these invites at least, but hasn't been signing up for Open Cup. So we've been seeing less of Dark. We've just been seeing less and less of him over time. Again, he is soon, I mean, you know, life progresses. Dark, he's a papi now. You know, he's a papi. He does have now a daughter, has a family, of course, and yeah, will soon be entering kind of the next stage in his life, which is military service, and of course post-military as well. So we wish Dark the best. And again, it's a little bit bittersweet just because Dark has to go to the military. At the same time, Dark is very much so in form. Like he's very much so in strong condition. So a little bit bittersweet. Regardless, GG will play. Dark going out on a high. 100%. Like, it's one of those things where there are some players that retire like after their peak, right? Like as their career kind of takes a bit of a downwards turn or downwards trend. At least that's for some players. But yeah, there are others where like they're looking good, looking in form, and you know, Dark, he did put off his military for a long time. True. Did put off for a very long time. I remember Dark, he had an interview back in November of last year, like October, November. He spoke about how it was when he got his KESPA acceptance speech. For those who don't know, I believe Dark was introduced to the KESPA Hall of Fame alongside like Maru and I think some other players. I think he got an award at the end of the year. And for his acceptance speech, he spoke about how he was thankful that that he was able to, of course, that he spoke about how he was going to the military, but he was thankful that he was able to be a part of, he was able to be there for like the birth of his daughter, and be there for like the early years, the early year even. before having to go to the military. So yeah, it was very nice, very wholesome, very wholesome. And GG, well played. As we can catch up with the entirety of the bracket itself. Huh. There we go. Again, this was a 2-day event. If you missed out on day 1, if you missed out on the earlier matches here today, I do recommend it. Again, Dark versus GuMiho was crazy. Game one of Dark vs GuMiho on King's Cove was insane. Was an insane back and forth. It was mech versus Dark, of course, with GuMiho versus Dark. It was mech, but not like a turtle like slower form of deck. Like, no, just non-stop aggression, non-stop back and forth between Dark and GuMiho. It went down to the wire. It went down to like one base versus one base economy. Bases going down all over the place. It was crazy. It was intense. I do recommend it. Likewise, last night we did feature GuMiho versus Creator, also an intense back and forth series. A lot of the GuMiho matches are always a lot of fun. Always a lot of fun, always a little bit more unorthodox. Likewise, Zoun versus Bjorn also did pop off. So yeah, do recommend the VODs. And if you want those VODs, YouTube is the place to be. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark socials in the chat. We do upload on YouTube on a daily basis. Of course, Twitch will no longer support VODs, so all the VODs on Twitch are going to be deleted coming into May. So all the VODs are uploaded to YouTube on a daily basis, so that is the place to be for VOD content. If you see something that you want to watch live, and if you can't tune in live, then YouTube is the place to be. Bam! As you can have a look at our weekly schedule. As you can see here, we are live twice a day, every single day. We cast more than any other channel out there in StarCraft. We put in the work, we have the quantity, and we have a little bit of the quality as well. All the StarCraft, all the content. We just wrapped up with our Saturday broadcast. As you can see, we were live this morning with Kung Fu Cup, and this evening with Chicken King Cup. And tomorrow, I say tomorrow, at 2 a.m. 2 a.m., which is in, what, 5 hours? In 5 hours time, at 2 a.m. in the morning, at 1 a.m. KST, Sunday morning, in 5 hours, we're going to be live with the HSL playoffs. Oh boy, exciting times, very exciting times here. If you're curious, what is the HSL? The HSL is the Hispanic Star League. It is a new initiative, a new endeavor. Big shout out to the Spanish-speaking community members out there, to the casters, to the content creators. They crowdfunded a GSL for the Hispanic community. I say community because, and I say Hispanic because it is for the Spanish-speaking countries, for Latino America, and for Spain as well. Spain is also included. Countries that are excluded: Brazil. No Brazil, no Portugal, just Spanish-speaking countries, not Portuguese. It is the HSL, of course. And yeah, we have the playoffs. We've been going over the group stage throughout the entire month. For the past 2 months, actually, we've been going through the group stage. And here, in 5 hours time, we're going to be featuring players like Special, like Juanito, Chamaco as well, Eggs, El Huevito. Also going to be casting players like Vortex. If you're an old school fan of StarCraft, Vortex should be a name you're familiar with. He is Lucifer's brother, big legend in StarCraft, especially in Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm. That was kind of like the era of Vortex and Lucifer. And Vortex nowadays, he's an AoE 4 player. He's an AoE 4 player, but he returned for the HSL. Great to see him playing StarCraft once again. If you want to see the VODs, we casted him in the group stage. We did cast him in the group stage. He had some intense matches, a lot of ZVTs. A lot of ZVTs in the group stage, so do check out those Vortex matches. Otherwise, we're wrapping up. Otherwise, we are wrapping up here for the day. Just catching up. I wouldn't sleep on Shin. He does really well. Beating Protoss and Clem 2 isn't a small feat. Yeah, I would say when it comes to the hierarchy of Zerg, once Dark goes to the military, it's between like Solar, Shin, Rogue. They all have their strengths, they all have their weaknesses. I don't know if there's like a clear one of them that's like above the others. I think right now Solar, he's in form for sure. Like Solar, he's been looking good recently. But hard to say, hard to say. Roach is tasting like chicken. Let's go. Let's go. But yeah, with that we're wrapping up. Again, we're going to be live once again in 5 hours time. I am very tired. We just casted 2 tournaments, so I'm going to go and get a nap. I'm going to try and nap for like maybe 3 hours, maybe a little bit more. I don't want to cut it too close, but I'm going to go and get some sleep. And when we come back, bam, we will have, of course, the HSL, the Hispanic Star League. I'm a little bit nervous. There's a lot of production value that's put into it. We have like an intro video and all these graphics and all these assets. It's looking good. It's looking good. Looking really clean, really suave, if you will. So I have to get ready for that broadcast. Otherwise, tomorrow we also have the Sparkling Tuna Cup. That is going to be in 24 hours time. We have the STC. If you want to help support us here on the CranKy Ducklings, you can do so via Patreon, !Patreon in the chat. You'll get a link to our Patreon page. We do, of course, all the Patreon is designed to fund our tournaments. Every single week we have the Sparkling Tuna Cup. Every single month we have SDO and MSO. 100% of the money in Patreon goes towards the players. It all goes towards the prize pool. So if you want to support our tournaments, if you want to support StarCraft, if you want to support the players, you can do so via Patreon. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for support. I'm going to go quickly get some food, and I'm going to go get some sleep. Gotta go pass out, and we'll be back in 5 hours. Until then, stick around. We're gonna be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Who is live? Who is live at the moment? Who can we send everyone over to? I think Wardy is hosting the Spring Championship. True. Wardy is hosting the championship. We have Loco laddering. Gabe is laddering. Let's go. Are there any smaller streamers? Oh, Gemini. True. GGE Mini. Okay. And Trigger as well. And Fiant. Oh my god. Alright, give some love to Gemini. Gemini, he is covering the All Things Protoss Team League. It is a bit of a meme league, so do check it out, do support it. Give him some love, give him some support. Otherwise, we'll see you guys later on tonight or tomorrow for some more StarCraft action. Until then, thanks for watching. See you next time. Ciao. Papi ciao. See you next time.